Welcome into the Week 5 Sunday Social, where we talk about literally like everything it has to do with fantasy football today. Betting, DFS, start sits, rankings, we got you here. But before we jump into it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. All right. And then if you really want to get in on the action, go to fantasy6pack.net/plans. Sign up for that cheap ass membership. It really pays for itself in the first week that you listen to Dave and Chris, or even Alan, on some bets. Like, it really does just pay for itself. But, that's enough. It's enough of talking about us, humbly bragging or whatever. I'm here with Dylan as always on Sunday. And then starting it off, we got Alan talking about some bets, some prop bets he was into this week. We were talking a little bit about his Jags and Bills bets behind the scenes. But Al, what do you got for today?
Yeah, so I did, since I'm back in Virginia, I can do my DraftKings profit boost bet. So I did the 3-leg parlay. I got Jalen Waddle over 61.5 yards, DeAndre Swift over 63.5 yards, and then Breece Hall is actually at 59.5. It was 60.5 last night, but I took it anyway over rushing yards. Broncos statistically
Terrible.
one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
I would highly doubt that we'll see an explosive Broncos offense and a Zach Wilson 40-throw game. So I think he should be fine. DeAndre Swift worries me a little bit because I still don't know what the Eagles' game plan is going to be. But he's their feature back. He's clearly moved his way.
It's not Gainwell.
Yeah, he's moved his way into RB1.
Yeah.
And, if anything, the Eagles still like to manage the clock. I feel like he's going to get at least 20 touches today. And then Waddle I picked, and it's probably my favorite bet today, simply because Winks likes to blitz a ton, and Tua likes to throw to his first read a ton. First read should be open today, and first read typically on blitzes, in my opinion, for their offense is Waddle, is not Hill. And so I feel like he's going to get a couple big plays. This, to me, feels like a game where he could get the 60-yard bomb or something like that. I think he's going to go off. I honestly don't see how the Giants match up well with the Dolphins in general defensively. So I'm hoping for those three. And then for my spread bets, so the Steelers-Ravens game, I marked as the one with the best historical data. I think in their last 16, 17 games, the dog has covered 15 times. Those games are typically close. I know the Steelers are coming off a rough outing against the Texans, but in that division, typically those games are battles. You're getting 4.5 right now. It's kind of similar to the situation where the Ravens came into Cleveland and they were getting 3.5, almost 4. I don't think anybody in that division should be favored by more than a field goal, honestly. No matter how bad they play, they just know how to play each other really well. Mm-hmm. And then I got in on the Titans pretty early when it opened with the Titans plus 1.5, and now it's flipped to the Titans favorite by 2.5. I know a lot of people are excited to hear Jonathan Taylor's back, especially the fantasy owners. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it matters that much this game. And I'm taking Tennessee because historically they're good in these spots against their divisional opponents. They have been very up and down, but I don't think the Colts give as much resistance to the pass rush that would typically give Tannehill some fits. I think that it should be a safer play. And then for money line plays, I'm fading the Chiefs this week, and I'm fading the Falcons. I got in on the Chiefs thing when it was Vikings plus 5.5. The money line was almost 2-1. I'm pretty sure it's dropped a lot now. It's just a situational play. You got a Vikings team that has a lot of talent. They're really desperate. And a Chiefs team that, honestly, I don't know if their head's all the way in it just yet. I mean, they just squeaked by on the Jets. Still got a lot of distractions going on with the Taylor Swift thing. And then it just feels like a perfect spot for them to kind of let down because they're coming back into another time zone. Short week for them because they played on Monday night, I think. Yep. So just kind of makes me a little comfortable. And Texans, I'm just going to try to catch Stroud while he's hot, man.
I don't blame you there at all. Yep.
Yeah. You're betting on a rookie quarterback. And so I will remind people, I'm going into this knowing very well that this could be a dud game. and I could be hating Stroud, but this is the up and down that you take when you bet on a rookie quarterback. Yep. And I think Arthur Smith doesn't have a lot of positive stats when it comes to covering the spread and just in general game management when he's at home. And the Texans are a hot team. They're getting most of their offensive line back. And I think they're just a team that you should try to find value as much as possible.
Sure. I'm also that Kansas City Chiefs Vikings game intrigues me as well, because kind of like what you said about the Dolphins game, I feel like Minnesota likes to blitz a lot too. So that'll be interesting to see how that matches up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, because blitzing him's definitely not a great idea. And I know Brian Flores definitely likes to call on the blitz a little bit.
Yeah, he disguises it pretty well too.
Yeah,
he still does. I call it amoeba. I don't know if they still call it that, but basically when you look at it from an aerial view, you don't know who's coming, who's going, what's going on. Guys are doing a whole lot of pre-snap movement. And so it is confusing. I think the key to stopping the Chiefs is just disrupting the rhythm of Kelsey and Mahomes like together, because he still doesn't have great chemistry with the rest of the guys yet. And I think you can kind of tell that. When the Jets took Kelsey out of the game per se, that's when we started to see the stalls going on with the offense. And I know everybody loves Pacheco, but he's not a 25 carry guy. They don't want to play that style. And I think the Vikings they're still a top 10 secondary or passing defense. So should be a good matchup, man. I mean, again, Kirk Cousins, man. What are we gonna get?
Exactly.
But a lot of NFL plays, honestly, are not necessarily based on who you think is better. Sometimes it's just a situational play. Like you're catching a team at a right time. Mooch made a good comment about the game today. Like you're catching the Bills after an emotional win. This is a perfect letdown spot. Yeah. I ignored Mooch, and I'm suffering right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also like hearing you when you talked about the Dolphins game and you talked about Jalen Waddle, because it seems like a lot of fantasy managers in general are down on him just because the chemistry between Tua and Tyreek Hill. And I think you said his receiving yardage is at 61.5, I think you said.
Yeah, 61.5. And he's averaging 70 a game.
So, yeah, it's I definitely don't think people need to be panicking on Jalen Waddle. Definitely quite yet. And this is definitely a good matchup for him to get right. And I have a ton of shares of him. So I might ride that wave with you, Alan, for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note, like, Tua is still a first read, get the ball out guy. And Waddle is typically the first read. I know everybody thinks it's Tyreek Hill because he's always doing a whole lot of moving around. But in their offense, I really think Waddle is the catalyst there. Not that Hill can't get off without him, but I think a lot of what they're looking to do explosive-wise, like vertically, goes to Waddle, and a lot of what they want to do working underneath and getting people in space, yards after the catch, goes to Hill. And so we get more highlights of Hill because, I mean, it's easy to cover a vertical route. It's not easy to cover a guy that's running 45 yards to one sideline and 25 yards back.
Exactly.
You know? So I think, I think people need to just slow it down a little bit on it. And if you're the Giants, you got to pick your poison. I'm pretty sure they're going to pick the poison of not letting Tyreek Hill, or trying their best not to let him get. Yeah.
As they should. And man, I'm with you too, man. I know we talked pre-show about your Gabe Davis player prop. This Bills offense, hopefully this wakes up in the second half here, because my TV's got about 6 minutes left and it's showing 11-0 Jacksonville still. Looks like Buffalo's about ready to get the ball back, which hopefully they could get some points before half, get going on offense a little bit.
Yeah, I'm about to just go all in. I'm a live bet Buffalo to come back.
There you go. I like it. I like that confidence.
Not recommending anybody follow me down that road. That's what I'm going to do.
I hear you for sure. But Alan, before you get out of here, do you have anything else you want to throw in here? Any plugs?
I'll be back on Tuesday. I should be back on my schedule Tuesday to get some of the early lines out to you guys and preview what's going on for week 6. And then just follow me on Twitter. I'll keep dropping tidbits while I can. if I see anything, because sometimes like, I'll call something on Tuesday, by Thursday it might change. Somebody might get hurt or something. And so if I make any adjustments, I'll make sure I update people.
Awesome. Sounds good, Alan. Great stuff as always, man. We appreciate you, and we will talk at you next week.
All right. Take care.
Absolutely. Good luck in the rest of your bets.
Thanks, man.
Peace. All right. So
I love that stuff, man. I love warming up with the betting talk in the morning. And now we get our rankings guy this week, who it's not Joe Bond, but we got someone else special for you.
Yeah, we got another F6P ranker here. He is part of the ECR consensus at Fantasy Pros, so make sure you go check out his rankings. But further ado, welcome Ike, our buddy on the Friday show. How's it going, man?
Hey, good.
Hey, pal. Good to see you're alive on Sundays, man. I don't normally see you. Not a whole lot hearing from you. What's up?
No Joe Burrow hat.
No, not today. I don't want to copy Friday.
I was gonna say, did Joe scare you out of it?
My blue hat.
I mean, I wonder what color he thinks this hat is.
Black.
But it's nice to have you here. Joe couldn't make it this week, but we got the next best here.
Yeah. And this guy and this one, Joe's he likes to float around. His stuff is usually pretty close to consensus. And then when I was getting these questions ready for Ike this morning, I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, these are different. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts here and your process, like on these guys.
He might be just trying to make a little bit of a jump in the rankings for the consensus, because you do got to be kind of extreme. Like if you just follow consensus to a T, you're gonna probably end up just middle of the pack. After.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And you don't want to do that because you want to be known as the guy.
You're first or last in this type of contest.
Exactly. You want to get your guys right. So when they have big days, you want to talk about it. And then when they have bad days, you should probably still talk about it.
It's the Ricky Bobby method.
Or reevaluate. Yeah, or reevaluate your processes and stuff.
Yeah, clearly not doing something right.
Which Ike did tell me recently. He did reevaluate his QB process, and he did.
That's the only thing I've done different, and I've done pretty well.
I was gonna say, yeah, you did pretty well. You I know it was week 1, but you called Geno Smith hard, like about him failing. So I mean, like you are getting much better. But
I'm probably gonna be wrong about Stafford and Lawrence. Lawrence is looking good, actually.
Well, you're lucky that Dylan didn't put them in the questions.
Well, I already have been too late.
But we'll start off with the quarterbacks. That's a great segment, Ike. So just out of curiosity, now Dylan was the one that looked at these, but I'm going to read them off for you. Jared Goff, ECR QB8 this week. Joe has him at QB12, so there's a little bit of a difference there. But then we got the ballsy Ike, who's got him at QB6. Let's hear the thoughts.
I get it's a tough matchup. Panthers actually gave Kirk Cousins a little tough time with the 2 interceptions, but Goff is less turnover prone, even though he's had 2 or 3 games with a pick. But I expect Goff to still be able to throw 1 to 2 passes, even without Amon-Ra gone. And then without any turnovers, he should be around 17, 18 fantasy points, which is top 12 for the most part. 6 a little high, but you got to remember, Joe Burrow's dealing with the calf, so you can't put him ahead. That would be weird. Anthony Richardson, not much of – you have to rely on a rushing touchdown, so putting him top 5, top 6 is kind of crazy. Trevor Lawrence wasn't going to make it up into there.
That you know of yet.
Yeah. Apparently Josh Allen's the one that should took out.
He just extended a drive finally in the first half here, so they're moving a little bit. Yep,
we gained a yard.
It's been that type of game for this offense, man. Jet lag.
I was not
ideal.
I was definitely wrong on the Friday show about you asked me, I'm like, hey, will this Bills offense?
Jaguars are cheating, man. They got to stay the whole week.
Yeah, totally. That's definitely unfair.
Is.
That's why I was kind of confused at why the NFL gave the home field to the Buffalo Bills when the Jags play the most games in London and they've already been there for a week.
I think it's because you have to technically – this has to count as a home game for the Bills.
It does. But just like it counted last week for the Jags.
One in New York. Yep.
But all right, we'll move on then to the running backs there. I was a little curious about your, why you'd have him so high with the ARSB news, him not being in. He doesn't have the full weapon. So that's what kind of surprised me the most.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta, man.
Me as well.
All right, Sam Laporta.
And Joshy Reynolds.
You heard it here. He's going off. Like I said,
I guess Cleve Raymond's the slot guy, so take that with what you will.
On to the running backs then. So Tony Pollard's sitting at ECR RB5. That's actually quite intriguing.
Way too high.
Considering he's going up against the Niners. I didn't even notice that. Ike, you got him at RB11. Is it pretty much just the Niners, or is there more at play?
It should be lower, to be honest, because 49ers have only allowed one RB1 this year, and that was to Kyren Williams, where he had to score 2 touchdowns, catch like 10 balls or whatever. So I don't see Tony Pollard doing that. In fact, I don't even see the Cowboys getting to the red zone very often.
I don't even think the Niners allowed an RB1 last year. So is it really the only RB1 they've allowed?
Kyren Williams, man.
Kyren Williams.
It's all the volume Kyren gets, man. He's playing 80% of the snaps and stuff. Yeah.
They've allowed 20 less carries to running backs than the next best team. For some reason, they don't carry the ball against the 49ers. So
you don't run.
You obviously got to start them still, but don't be expecting an RB5.
Yeah, and definitely he's not the full passing down role guy either, and they could get down in this game early against the Niners, who, in my opinion, right now is probably the best team in the NFL. So it's like, how often are they going to use Tony Pollard in this one? Like he could get game script out, but if he's the real deal, like we kind of think he is, I think he finds a way to be able to stay solid this week, and hopefully he produces as still a top 12 guy where you have him.
I'm thinking 11. More RB2 range. I mean, I do have him RB11, but man, it's a tough game for him.
You don't have to answer this like a start sit, but I was thinking more of like a total points at the end of the week this week. Who has more total points, Tony Pollard or Breece Hall?
Breece Hall.
Who plays
easier matchup?
Well, exactly. That's kind of the thought. Like, you didn't even have to think about it. Like, Breece Hall, because the matchup is so much easier compared to the matchup for Tony Pollard. So, like, if you have viable options, okay, it's all right to maybe start Tony Pollard this week. But a lot of people don't have those viable options, so you're still starting them. All right, let's move on to the wide receivers where we have some fun. Puka Nacua with Cooper Kupp coming back is still sitting at ECR wide receiver 8. Ike, you got him at wide receiver 19. Is the Cooper Kupp coming back bigger than everyone's thinking?
Yeah, why has this not been? Why is he still wide receiver 8? They're acting like he's the alpha now in this offense. First off, Cooper Kupp has no snap limitation, they said. And the dude for the past 2 years is literally the alpha of the wide receivers, other than maybe Justin Jefferson, averages 10 targets a game. Just because he's coming back from injury, and Puka had 4 games that are in the history books doesn't mean that he's going to overtake Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I agree. I think he just slides into that
Robert Woods, man. That's what I put right here.
That's why, and Robert Woods at his peak was top 15 guy, really, which you had. Obviously, that's closer to where you have him ranked. So I tend to agree with you, man. I think people are just nervous because if they're throwing the ball so much continuously still, what if he still keeps getting 8 to 10 targets?
Yeah, fair. I mean, Tutu Atwell was getting 6 to 7, 8 targets a game, so I can see Puka getting that.
Yeah.
Tutu Atwell's done.
A lot of people are thinking, I was just going to say, a lot of people are thinking he's going to slide into the Robert Woods role. And whenever has the Robert Woods role given you a wide receiver 6?
Yeah, right. No, I hear you. That's what we said. Yeah, top 15, like 15 to 20 is where.
15 to 25, 25 the lowest in my opinion. I mean, he's a rock solid.
At least this first game. I mean, if he gets 5 targets, 3 catches, like it's possible. Then it's like, all right, you got to drop him down a bit.
I will kind of push back a little bit on you, like about Tutu being done, though. I think he could slide into that Brandon Cooks role when they had all 3 guys as kind of that deep shot guy. He'll probably be inconsistent, but I think at times he'll still be a viable fantasy.
You also got,
and I think roster him still.
You still got Kyren Williams that demands some targets and Higbee. So, I mean, someone's got to lose out here significantly.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, my biggest thing is Stafford likes to funnel And I think if he tries to funnel it to Cooper Kupp, that's the biggest thing is just the defense.
He does like to throw to one guy a lot. He fixates a little bit.
I think the defense is going to know that too, though. And that, like, honestly, this week I like Puka a little bit higher in that range, more towards the 15 number, just because of Cooper Kupp's first game back. The defense knows Stafford wants to go to him. They're probably going to leave Puka a little, without the safety over the top. So I like him this week, but moving forward, he will be assimilating into that Robert Woods role. All right. Another wide receiver here. Deebo Samuel coming off a goose egg. ECR's got him at wide receiver 14. You have him at wide receiver 25. You're obviously worried about that, that goose egg last week. Like, elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, this one made me chuckle a little.
It's more than just that goose egg. The Cowboys only allow 7 catches a game to wide receivers.
Is it because you traded for Ayuk maybe in a league also?
I'm saying Ayuk's bad too.
Okay,
they're both not going to do much. I mean, if you're allowing 7 catches a game like the Cowboys are, what are you going to do? 4 for Debo, 3 for Ayuk? And Debo's not a yet guy, so what's he going to get? 4 catches for 30 yards? He's not a touchdown guy, so he's not going to get you that. If anybody gets a touchdown, it's Ayuk. So, I mean, only allowing 109 yards to wide receivers too. I mean, he's not an alpha anymore. If anything, Kittle probably has the best shot of doing best out of these guys.
Well, that's good, Jamie. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we do, man. We appreciate you being here with us too.
One of our favorite people.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you about Deebo. I'm definitely worried about him, especially with the way they're just using and abusing Christian McCaffrey right now. You know what I mean? Like
Elijah Mitchell was out last week too.
I know,
so,
but
that don't matter.
Then put Deebo in the wide back role. What are you doing here?
They kind of did. They gave him a rush.
Give him 5 to 6 carries if you need to spell him. McCaffrey's getting work done on his neck on the sidelines and stuff. Like, guys, you have Super Bowl aspirations.
If he's not getting those carries, why is Debo ranked even near wide receiver 2?
Yes, he can't be especially when Brandon Ayuk is
the
number 1 in that offense. Yes, he's daddy outside of Christian McCaffrey.
Looks like Daddy in this game just scored. Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. He scared me earlier. I thought he got hurt on that one tackle.
No, he's fine.
Apparently, that's just the defense of the Bills.
But it was, good stuff that they're.
Mike LaPlant, you forgot to play a running back.
Huh?
You forgot a running back. Not Chain. Or however you say it.
I
did
forget him. That is.
I'm kind of glad you did, though, because this one's tough.
No, we're gonna do it.
Gotta talk about it now.
Quick little sidebar. Devon A. Chain, ECR RB 13. Ike, you got him at RB 22. Are you afraid that Mostert gets back involved after the 2 fumbles last week?
This is literally only because I don't expect him to sustain what he's averaging 3 touchdowns his past 2 games. He's averaging 120 plus yards or whatever. He has a 200-yard game under his belt. I don't think he can keep this up, so that's why I have him dropped a little bit low. Strictly that reason. I still think he'll get his snaps and all that.
Yeah, that's totally fair in my opinion.
Giants are brutal against the run too, so I can see it being a Mostert game, but I can also see it being split.
Just the fact that we have 2 running backs from the Dolphins as top 5 RBs 4 weeks through the year is kind of nuts.
And one of them dropped a 4 last week, so that goes to show how crazy
is Tyreek Hill the wide receiver 1 right now?
I don't think so.
He's got to be close.
No.
I think it's Jefferson, honestly.
Or Keenan Allen.
Yeah, he's still in the top 5.
Keenan has a passing touchdown. So
for that offense to have 2 running backs within the top 5 and Tyreek Hill within the top.
The number 1 or number 2 quarterback too as well.
Wow.
Or top 2 at least.
Makes me happy that the Bears never even interviewed Mike McDaniels.
Would have thought he'd be this good though.
We're going to move on to somebody who's just been on fire out the gates. Back to wide receivers. Nico Collins, ECR wide receiver 16. Ike, you got him at 10.
Mm-hmm. Top 10 guy.
You're really liking his matchup against the Falcons today. I want to hear
it. Mainly because it's a lot of tough matchups for the other wide receivers you see. And plus, Puka obviously is behind him because Kupp comes back. Ayuk has the Cowboys, who are very good against the wide receivers. So it just, based off that, Nico is jumping up more and more. Also helps he's on a pass-happy offense that throws roughly 35 to 40 times a game. And if you're throwing that many times, he's got to get at least 8 to 10 of them because he is the number one option in that offense. So just based off volume alone, he should be near the top. Plus, he's third in touchdowns, first in yak, which is surprising.
I like the confidence.
Are you sure it's not DJ Moore after last game?
It hasn't updated yet, so that's probably a good change.
Because that was some good yak he had. I think it was like 140 yards of it.
Basically, all his yards were yak almost.
Pretty much. That was quite wild. But yeah, I mean, take it for now. All right, on to the last one here, tight ends, and this one I've been all over this guy recently on the waiver wires. But Zach Ertz, ECR tight end 11, you got him at tight end 15. This guy is just getting volume, second in the league in targets. Why do you have him so low?
Could be a low scoring game. It's the only reason why he has no touchdowns either. So, which is weird. He has all these targets and all these catches, but no touchdowns. So clearly, when they're in the red zone, either they're giving it to James Conner or
Marquise Brown.
Yeah,
weird guy, 5'10" Marquise Brown. Red zone.
Let's not throw to the 6'5" Zach Ertz, who is a really good route runner. Anyways, he probably should be ahead of Pitts in my rankings because Pitts is basically dead on arrival. But I'm going to roll with it. I'll keep him at tight end 15. If it bites me in the ass, that's fine. For the most part, you guys are starting this dude, though.
Yeah, especially like over someone like Kyle Pitts. I mean,
I'm
kind of more curious. I'm kind of curious though because I talked about it on the Friday show. Like again, you don't have to take it like a start-sit question, but Jonnu Smith or Zach Ertz?
Zach Ertz. Jonnu Smith. What? I don't know. I don't think
even you are confused on why he's so much involved over.
I don't think he's going to keep up what he's doing. Either Kyle Pitts like banged Arthur Smith's wife or something, or he did something to get him a little bit in trouble to where
I think he made a mom joke
to get his thing
Arthur
back.
Smith. Yeah, he made a mom joke about Arthur's mom, and
he had to have, or made a joke about Arthur Smith looking weird or something. It had to be something like that.
Or something. Maybe didn't appripate it.
Maybe he said he was like, dude, you know who your doppelganger is? Big Cat from Barstool. Like,
you know what? Jonnu Smith is number one tight end now. Eat it.
But I mean that pretty much wraps it up though for the ranking segment. We appreciate you coming on, sharing some of your insight into your week 5 rankings. It's always fun talking to you, and thank you for coming on in replacement of Joe. But plug some of your stuff. What are you doing this year? Let us know before you go.
Only Mondays is Injury Impact, and then other than that, I do your podcast on Friday, and I'll probably never be in the Sunday show again.
Don't say that. Our podcast. It's yours as well, dude. You're part of the
ours. I'm not going to say my podcast on Friday. I'm going to say ours.
Well,
Boss Joe liked your thought you did a good job today, Ike.
Thanks,
he was
boss.
talking to me because I'm Mike. He's Ike.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was totally you, Ike. But all right, we'll let you go. I know you probably got to make some last-second adjustment rankings, just like
I do. I should probably move Zach Ertz up, huh?
This is why this segment's really good because we help the public, but we also help you goons help your rankings a little bit. But peace out. We'll talk to you later. Good luck in your matchups.
Enjoy your Sunday, man.
You too.
Adios. All right, and now. I mean, it's not the piece of resistance, but it is the meat of the show.
A rotating cast of characters, man. We got going out here.
It's a shame that we're the two least characteristic. But welcome in to the show, our dynasty expert and our third member of our Start Sit show. What's up, JJ? How's it going?
What up, guys? How you guys doing? I'm good, man. Mostly good. I had woke up. There's 2 really good things. I checked all my fantasy scores today, and Dylan, I noticed in the salary cap league, you have Fields and Moore going against me this week.
Let's go.
That was a little bit rough to realize that.
Shock up a loss this week.
It's a good chance on that one, but man, it's good. We got Cowboys 49ers. I mean, this is like the first real test for us this year, so I'm excited just to see how that goes. Made a big trade in like one of my main fantasy leagues this morning, so like I'm feeling good. I'm ready to rock.
What was the trade? If you got it off the top of your head, what do you got?
Yeah, so a contending team. We're both contending, and I sent away Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Josh Downs and Rashee Rice, and a second this year. And I got back CeeDee Lamb, Christian Watson, and a second in 2026.
I like it. You had me at CD, man.
Yeah, I was like, I had to go get my guy, even though it was a lot to pay. But getting Christian Watson on there kind of made it a little bit easier to give up those second, third, fourth, fifth pieces I gave up there. But yeah, it was good.
Sure.
Yeah, I know you always, kind of value those picks a little bit higher, but it never hurts getting a surefire guy like CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I had to clear some space because I had JT coming off the IR today too, and so I kind of had to make at least a 2-for-1. So I was kind of okay overpaying a little bit, just kind of clear that spot. So I bring JT back in, we're ready to go. Wasn't Arizona? Hey man, Josh Dobbs
taking a shot here.
Man. That's all right, man. Josh Dobbs, little rocket scientist, man. He challenges anybody.
Smartest man in the world.
He's just mad that the Commanders failed the Bears test.
That was tough, man. That was tough.
I saw this thing and I showed it to Joe. It's like the Commanders are the streak busters. They ruined the Baltimore Ravens preseason streak. They ruined the Eagles 8-0 streak last year. There was another streak they ruined, and then they ruined the 14 game losing streak for the Bears. So they're the streak busters.
Appreciate it.
Joe, of course. Hey, at least we beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, that was a test we failed, so that was fair. But yeah.
Well, here, guys, before we hop into the start set questions, Jamie's got a dynasty question here for Jordan. In dynasty, would you rather have Walker or Gibbs?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I have them back to back in my rankings. But this next
it's not looking good for Gibbs right now.
This next update, I'm probably going to move Walker above, but I'm not like panicked on Gibbs long term. But like, I think I overreact a little bit to Sharps coming in there. Like,
yes,
like there is a chance that the way Walker runs that he could end up getting hurt at some point, and Sharps is still going to be like a freaking really good player to have there. But yeah, man, Walker is special, man. Go with Walker.
Yeah, well, Walker. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say it's wild. You look at the running mate of Gibbs, and it's Monty, and he's second in the league with 5 touchdowns. You know who he's tied with? The other guy in this question, Kenneth Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, I prefer Walker. I know the dynasty value of Gibbs, but right now, like, we just did not listen to the signs of the Lions. They just don't use a workload running back. They're always going to have somebody in there competing for touches with Gibbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Walker was somebody that I was completely fading this offseason and redraft as well, like Jordan alluded to with Charbonnet. Charbonnet is starting to get a little bit more work now, which is good to see. And he runs hard, yeah. But
he does run hard. I know it's very, very early, but I mean, Pete Carroll already mentioned he kind of runs like Lynch a little bit.
Yeah,
like Marshawn. Like he's not very fast, but man, he's hard to bring down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, JB Salsa said he has a back-to-back as well, so he was debating.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Walker on this next one. I mean, at one point, I think I had Walker up at like RB2 or 3 in my rankings last year, and like he didn't do anything wrong except for have JSN and Sharps get added to that team. That was the only thing that really caused him to drop. And the cream rises to the top, man. He's good.
No doubt.
It's hard not to fall victim to this with Gibbs. I mean, with recency bias. Like recency bias says that Walker's is the hot man right now, where Gibbs may turn it around, but as of now, I'd be putting Walker ahead.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We did have a question like right away when we started, and I let the guy know that.
Yep.
Yeah, I let him know that we were going to get to it eventually. I hope you're still here, Richard. But he's got full PPR. I mean, it doesn't really matter, though, with the QB. But Jared Goff or Dak Prescott this week. And I'm going to start off with JJ here, since you're the resident Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Goff here. I think this Dallas and San Francisco game could be very, very low scoring, lots of defense, which is crazy because they both have really good offenses. But I see this being a game of kind of like first to 20 points wins. I see us leaning heavy on the run game and trying to control the clock. The McCarthy special, what he's been trying to do this year. So I think I'm going to go Goff here. They got the Panthers right. Carolina. Yeah. I'll go Goff here.
I lean the same way.
Yeah.
I lean the same way. I mean, if it was between like Purdy or Dak, I go Dak because both have both tough matchups. Give me the better talent, in my opinion. But this one, you got a clear set tough matchup. Both have the same volume, in my opinion. Maybe Dak's a little bit less because of the McCarthy special, but I would lean Goff as well. Higher ceiling, a little bit higher of a floor this week, too, with the matchup.
I honestly can't give it a clean sweep, guys. I think I would actually lean Dak here because of all the rotating guys in and out of the offense for the Lions right now. Like you got Jamison Williams coming back. You got the safety blankie, Amon-Ra St. Brown being out for this game. You know, there's different pieces moving around. Jahmyr Gibbs is also ruled out. So I know Carolina can get attacked through the air, but I'm a little bit lower on Goff this week. So actually give me Dak in that in between those two because of the weapons difference.
Yeah.
You're muted, Mike? Once a show, dog. It's all good.
Yep. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna continue to happen. Might as well just be my shtick at this point.
Yep.
But I was just gonna say, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a little being out is a little concerning. I just trust that offense a little bit more with an easier matchup. All right, A-Chain or Kyron Williams here, guys. Full point PPR. I can't. I love A-Chain. Don't get me wrong. I have him. I don't have Kyron. I have Kyron Williams, I think, in 2 leagues, but I'm starting Kyron Williams over A-Chain all day.
Think you have to go Williams too because of just the sheer volume that he's getting, man.
Exactly.
And both offenses are good. Obviously, you lean the Dolphins offense.
A-Chain has the higher ceiling. We've seen it. A-Chain can drop a 40 burger at any point.
Probably just because he's the big play opportunity every time he touches the ball. I think that gives him the higher ceiling, but I feel like that also the volume he gets caps the ceiling because it's not enough because it's split with Mostert. So he's a little bit reliant on the big plays. So give me Kyron Williams. I think he's the much safer play.
He is a safer play. I always say, like, if you play DJ Moore this week, go for the ceiling play in A-Chain. But Kyron Williams is just so safe, and he also has just a good enough ceiling to be able to help come back from a DJ Moore week. Where A-Chain, if he hits, awesome, he hits. But if he misses, you're 100% probably losing that week compared to Kyron Williams missing.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go the other way on this one. I'm going A-Chain here, man. I mean, you look at like what the Giants have given up this year. They've given up 40 points, 28 points, 30 points, 24 points. The Dolphins might put up 50 on these guys today, and I would not be surprised if A-Chan has, 20, 25 fantasy points today. I was on the Joe's show on Thursday a couple weeks ago, and he kind of asked, it was right after A-Chan had his first big game, and was he kind of a legit thing? Is this going to be a thing that happens moving forward? And I was kind of like, yeah, like when he got drafted to Miami, like this type of performance was exactly what we envisioned in this offense, and we're seeing it come to fruition 2 weeks in a row now. A-Chan is a must-start guy for me. There's pretty much no way I'm benching him moving forward, so I'll go A-Chan here.
I mean, this is one of those decisions where I get it. You don't want to bench A-Chain, but you have just a much, much safer option in my opinion. They're going against Philly, right? They are going against Philly here, but Kyron Williams gets enough volume to where he's at least going to get you a 10 to 15 point game. Where if A-Chain doesn't hit the big play, it'd be more than less than 10 points, in my opinion. Kind of like what we saw with Mostert last week. Now, granted, he did fumble the ball twice, but A-Chain's a rookie, so I mean that is absolutely within the realm of possibilities that he could even fumble. All right,
no man, I feel like A-Chan's top 10, top 12 moving forward. Like I would be surprised if we see him take a backseat to Mostert. I could be wrong, but it's just like this is
I want that too
when he got drafted here. So like I don't know. We'll see. I'm going A-Chan.
I would like that too because I mean, if the Dolphins are smart, they need to keep Mostert for the playoffs. And how do you do that? You give him a less of a workload. It's just that simple. Guys, 30 years old. I mean,
yeah, I think 31.
It's you got to keep him for the playoffs. So I get it. All right, we'll go on to the next question here if I can find it. What's up, Dylan? Oh yeah, it's Bob Dole. Bob Dole. He wants to know. Good morning, guys. He goes, do I start Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor? To give some context here, he has Derrick Henry, Kamara, Montgomery, and Taylor. Which 3 does he start? All right, we'll start with the first.
I was going to say I feel like JT is pretty much must start, but you have some pretty good options here. So if you kind of wanted to play it safe and you want to see it for a week first from JT, I could understand that here. I mean, all 3 of your other running backs are pretty solid. Me personally, if I had these 3, I think I'd probably roll out Henry, Kamara, Montgomery, and then just if JT goes for 40 points on my bench, I'll live with it. And then next week I slot him right back in. And you shouldn't get like a 0 from any of those other 3 or anything like that. So you should still be getting double-digit points from all 3.
Maybe another 13 reception for 33 yards from Kamara.
You're
But
muted,
PPR,
Dylan.
that's awesome.
No, I got to put $1 in the jar. No, but I'm a little worried about JT this week because of the matchup too, taking on the Titans, right? So that's definitely not ideal either. I don't want to overreact to that, but we've seen them do a pretty good job outside of the Jerome Ford week. But even then, he caught a touchdown and found the end zone on the ground as well to save his week. So I'm kind of with Jordan here. I'm okay leaving Jonathan Taylor on the bench this week when you have those 3 guys that you're able to plug into your lineups.
Yeah, if you had, like maybe I know you don't agree with me, JJ, but I mean, if like let's say it was A-Chain instead of Kamara, then I'd be playing.
I'd still be on A-Chain.
Then I would probably be playing Taylor here just because I trust the volume more, even with him and Zach Moss, because we have seen it time and time again with Taylor. But yeah, you got great options in a year where we are struggling at RBs. You have 4 solid options right here.
I'm going to use this show for my own gain here for a second. JT question, some other guys. Are you starting him over guys like Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Tank Dell?
That's a little different because you're adding in a wide receiver aspect of it. Is it PPR half?
PPR.
PPR, you got Zay Flowers. I would not start him over Zay. I like Zay this week against Pittsburgh.
Here, let's throw this up that Jamie threw in earlier too. He said bold prediction: Zay Flowers, top 10 wide receiver this week.
I like it. Oh yeah, I need to get a pick in on that. I forgot to get one in.
For the silly string.
Yeah, Chris Godwin made me look good last week.
I know you got some help with the Mike Evans injury, but either way, you got it done. You weren't AJ.
Sure. Love the dub.
Exactly, a dub is a dub. Go Brees Hall. All right, and then so to answer the Cup question for him, because he has Cup as well. He already started Kirk, who's obviously playing. All right, and there's 2 other and his 2 other options were Hopkins and Cup. All right, and then he has Evans, Lockett, and Godwin on bye. So it's like I'd be starting Cup. Yeah, I'd be starting Cup over Hopkins all day. That offense is hard to trust. When
supposedly no limitations on Cup as well. You are rolling him out there, and you're sitting DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins is just not doing it this year, Joe. I hope you're listening.
Are you going JT over Hopkins? Or is that the decision he has to make? JT over Hopkins too? Yeah, I think
I would go JT over Hopkins. JT over Hopkins, yes. Hopkins has the targets, no doubt, but all targets are not created equally, especially when you're getting them from Tannehill. All right.
I think that's it for the live questions, Mike.
Yeah, you got the Facebook ones pulled up by chance? Because I did not.
I could start us out here, and then you could take over at any time. So just switch to all comments here. Where are we at? This is outstanding.
And if not, I'll just throw out more of my own start-sit questions for you.
That's usually what Dylan does.
Let's first one here for Robbie Robinson. We got Hollywood, DeAndre Hopkins, or Romeo Doubs. He needs 2 full-point PPR. We got Hollywood, DeAndre Hopkins, or Romeo Doubs.
I'm going to go Hollywood and Doubs.
Yeah, I go Hollywood and Doubs.
That's the side I lean as well, too. I like this. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say Christian Watson could still be on a snap count going into this week, so Doubs is still the number 1 guy there. Hopkins, we already stated we're not very high on him, so give us Doubs. And
I was going to say, Watson played last week, like you said, on a snap count, but Doubs still saw like 12 targets. So I think the volume that he's seeing, the chemistry that he has with Jordan Love already, I think you lean him here, and I think you lead Hollywood as well. And I think
Hollywood's wide receiver 18 right now, guys.
Yeah, just keep rolling him out there. It's
Josh Dobbs is a killer, man.
Rocket scientist.
Hollywood's probably the most talented guy on the roster, right? So it makes sense, with it. You didn't expect this offense to be great, but it makes sense for him to be the guy who's kind of coming out of it besides just James Conner as well. You want me to keep going, Mike, or you got it now?
I got it. You just went backwards. That's why I was a little confused. All right, Christy here. She's got full point PPR. She's looking for a flex because St. Brown is out. Najee Harris or Jacoby Myers? Man. Or does she
Packers?
Or she's asking, or does she grab somebody from waivers? Like the only one I can think of off the top of my head that might be on waivers you could possibly get would be McLaughlin for the Broncos. But he was a hot waiver ad this week, so I mean,
and they said Javonte might play his game time decision, so I don't think that's really an option.
Yeah, I mean the guy's injured. He's coming off a multi-ligament tear. Let's not rest him.
Different injury, man. It's the hip.
Oh, yeah, but he act like it wasn't probably caused by that multi-ligament injury.
No, it's caused by getting hit in the hip, man.
All right. Najee Harris or Jacoby Myers, though, I actually go. I mean, here's the thing. If she's going every point counts, this week's a tight one for me, which means she probably played DJ Moore. I'm going the ceiling play, and I would play Jacoby Myers. You get Jimmy Garoppolo back. Najee Harris, yeah, he's probably not. He's going to get you probably a good 5 to 10 points, whoop-de-doo, but it's not going to win you the week.
I was going to say, I think Myers is the safe and ceiling play here, especially with it being full point PPR. Garoppolo back in the lineup too for the Raiders, and we've seen Myers get peppered by him in a couple games that they've played together. So I'm going to take Myers over Najee here. And you guys know me, I'm out on Najee. It was like 11 points last week, and everybody was like, yeah, give me that 11 points.
Well, I mean, just imagine if he had a touchdown with it, which this is the problem. The offense isn't even in the red zone very often.
Right.
But yeah, I get it.
I'll go Jacoby here too. I feel like, did I read somewhere that Najee has like a questionable too? Like they're thinking Warren might get a little more work this week. Did I make that up?
Oh, I did not see that. I'm not sure though. I believe you though.
I'll look it up. But I didn't see it personally. I'll look it up, though.
Let me see here. I could have just streamed that. It's early on the West Coast here. That could have been. His latest injury report. Yeah, he's on with a hamstring as of yesterday.
Yeah, surprise edition on Friday.
Yeah, one of the beat reporters I was reading, I'm pretty sure it was like a beat reporter on one of the apps, one of the bazillion sports apps I get notifications. They were saying it might be a little bit more of a Warren week this week, just to kind of keep him fresh.
I mean, it's not a good matchup against the Ravens either way. So, yeah, I still lean Jacoby Myers. All right. This one's a fun one. Jason wants to know, am I starting Marvin Mims Jr. or Braxton Berrios?
Who's that again? Braxton Berrios or who?
Braxton Berrios or Marvin Mims Jr. for the Broncos? I
think it's Marvin Mims.
It is. He leads their team in receiving yards on such a limited snap count. Sean Payton, play him more.
Then again, man, Miami's got New York. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they put up 50 again and Berrios gets a random touchdown and takes a punt back for 60 yards.
You're not worried Chase Claypool's going to take some of his routes?
He's inactive.
If you get points for return yardage, I think I actually lean Berrios. If you get return yardage, if it's just receiving, I think I would go Mims.
Yeah, that's a good tiebreaker. If there's return yardage in there, play Berrios because he's probably going to be getting 2-3 returns most likely. But if it's not, I still go Marvin Mims. How do you not? Sean Payton, play the guy who leads your team in receiving yards.
He's obviously not doing something right, man, unfortunately.
Yeah, apparently not. But out of the next, Brian wants to know, Tank Dell, George Pickens, or Michael Thomas? He needs one. Just assume it's PPR.
This is another guy where I'm just going to roll with talent and give me George Pickens. Do we know if Pickett is playing?
He's supposed to play, but he's still injured. Yeah, he said he's going to tough it out.
Is Pickens, Tank Dell, or who?
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
I'm going to go Tank Dell here, I think.
Pickens is safer, I think. He's going to get the most targets out of the three.
Should. Tougher matchup.
Should. So, you're right, tougher
Especially
matchup. I did see Marlon Humphrey plans to make his season debut today, which he's probably going to be matched up against Pickens. Just as far as like safety and targets go, it's Pickens. But if you play DJ Moore, throw Tank Dell in there. That's really like my deciding factor when it comes to these ceiling floor plays. I'm like, did you play DJ Moore?
Did you play the Bears?
He dropped 45 points, guys. I'm sorry, 15 points from a safe play is not going to help you win the week. You need to kind of reach for the stars a little bit.
We got one from Taylor in Discord, too, guys. He's got Romeo Dobbs here, who I just talked up, and then we got Jonathan Taylor. Who would you play in full PPR here?
Full point PPR.
Romeo Dobbs or Jonathan Taylor?
I think Dobbs still, but if same thing. If you played against the Bears, throw JT in there and hope for like a 40-point game. But I think Dobbs is probably the play there.
I still lean Taylor. I lean Taylor. Just I know he got 12 targets last week in Dobbs, but I mean I think Taylor's going to easily get 12 carries. Now, granted, tough matchup, but Taylor's the type of running back that the Tennessee Titans haven't played yet. I mean, Nick Chubb got injured before they played him. So, I mean, that was supposed to be like the toughest slated running back they were supposed to go against. Now it's JT. So I think JT's talent overcomes the matchup a little bit, and he's going to score more than Dobbs. Plus, I look at it like this, guys. I mean, they just re-signed Jonathan Taylor. If they do eventually want to trade him, how do you trade him? You drive his trade value up by playing the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to my next one. Yep.
Mike, real quick. You kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. Have you heard anything this week on like snap counts for Watson or Aaron Jones?
I did not hear about snap counts. I just saw the questionable tag leading into it. I'm assuming I have no real sources or updates at all for Christian Watson. I just assume so because it's a hamstring injury. And then Aaron Jones, I kind of just look at it like, you know what, they have AJ Dillon. So I wouldn't say the snap count. They're probably going to play just the hotter hand. And if Aaron Jones does have a good week, he's going to end up playing more. But if it's AJ Dillon, it's going to be him more. So I'm working off of the assumption that yes, they're going to get a snap count.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
but I haven't. I have
decision a little bit. Yeah,
I have no real sources though. That is just a
sure. But I mean, you've watched the team for years and stuff. That's just why I know I was curious because I honestly don't know. I have one league where I'm kicking around starting both those two, but I also have Tank Dell, Zay Flowers on the bench or Addison. So I'm kind of like, oh man, that's tough.
It is. I hate snap counts. That's why I like to have that confirmation because
at least like T Higgins, they just said like, hey, he's out. Like, don't even worry about it. We're not gonna mess with it. He's out. Like,
McVay coming out and saying, you know what, Cooper Kupp, he's not gonna be on a snap count right before the day before the game or 2 days before the game. Like, I know we may not always believe coach speak, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
it really is. All right. Ooh, J.R. Brown wants to know George Pickens or Jacoby Myers this week.
Give me Jacoby Myers. I'm relying on the volume here.
You think Pickens doesn't have as much volume as Jacoby Myers?
Pickens has never been the target volume guy in my opinion there. So I'm definitely more of a big play guy. I think Jacoby Myers is going to see 8 to 10 targets, man, especially if Devontae is matched up against Jair Alexander today. If Jair's back, obviously
it's tomorrow, but
he's
questionable. I don't know if he's going to play, honestly. My guess.
That's tough. I hate having Devontae on so many teams.
I would love to see that
Monday,
matchup,
like what to do, man.
Devontae Jair,
just as a Packers fan though, because I mean that's what they did in practice for all those years, and I want to see it on the field now. But if Jair can't play, I mean, Devontae's going to eat. That's where it's like I don't think they need Jacoby Myers if Jair isn't there. And I actually think Pickens is a little bit safer just because Deontay's out. Like it's not fun targets because you have Kenny Pickett compared to Jimmy Garoppolo, where I think Garoppolo's just a better quarterback right now. But Pickens is safer in my opinion. I wouldn't be shocked if he sees 10 targets. Where I don't know if Jacoby Myers does.
I'll go Myers, but it's a coin flip. Like if you have a gut feeling one way or the other, I'd say don't overthink it. Go with your gut.
Yeah, Packers defense sucks. Ravens is actually pretty good. Almost a good catch, Calvin. All right.
We back on?
Yeah, they are back on. 7-11, guys.
7-11 open all night.
Hey, we got our first 7-11 in London.
There we go.
All right. So next one here, we got Nick O'Brien wants to know. Darren Waller or Jake Ferguson, full point.
Oh, that's easy. Fergie, baby. The new cousin Schultz. That's easy, man.
The new cousin Schultz. Dak Prescott loves his tight ends, and he loves his tight ends in the red zone. Jake Ferguson, 11 targets in the red zone, by far leads all tight ends in the NFL.
It's just crazy, too, because he's not playing a ton of snaps. It's like I saw Andrew Cooper tweeted from Fantasy Alarm that he's defying all logic right now because he's like 30th in snap share, 30th in a few different things, and it's like you said, all those red zone targets from Dak, and Dak loves the tight ends, so I'm going to give me Ferguson too, just because that Giants offense looks like it can't get out of its own way. So
that stat is, in my opinion, that stat is almost as just wowzers as the one I brought up about Jordan Addison on Friday. That is kind of nuts for him to be 30th in snaps, but yet he's just getting
I want to look
peppered.
Okay. I was trying to look at the stat that I put in my article last week, but yeah, so Ferguson in 3 of the 4 games so far this year has at least 7 targets, and in the one game he doesn't, he had 3 out of 4 and pulled in a touchdown. Like, he's going to be involved every single week. Like, Ferguson's easily a top 12. I'm going to say probably top 8 or 9 tight end the rest of the way pretty easily.
Yeah, here it is, straight from the tweet from Andrew Cooper. It's tight end 30 in route participation, tight end 30 in pass block, tight end 36 in A-dot, tight end 42 in wide receiver route percentage, and tight end 16 in yak/receiving yards. So it's like, and he's showing out still.
But it's crazy. He only has 1 touchdown, so it's not like he's just getting propped up by like a bunch of touchdowns. Like he's productive, man. He's involved. Like when he's out on the field, like you said, he's not getting every single snap just because we have Schoonmaker, Hendershot. We got a lot of tight ends there, but like when he's on there, he's like a pass catcher more than a blocker. Like he's a receiver in this offense. It's awesome to see. Mm-hmm. New cousin Schultz, baby.
Yeah, it's just
the Wisconsin Badgers too, man.
Mm-hmm. I know Jordan didn't hear this, and I know you already did, Dylan, but this stat just blew my mind when I looked it up for the Friday show. Jordan Addison has 43.5 fantasy points through 4 weeks, wide receiver 44, 13 receptions, 185 yards, 2 tutties. These are his stats on just third downs. 6 receptions, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Literally more than half of his stats of the year are just on third downs.
That's got to be a good sign that he's like well trusted, right? On those big situations.
Exactly my thought, because Dylan's question was, are you worried about, Jordan Addison dropping a goose egg last week? Are you benching him this week? No, you're not with that trust.
Not because of that. No, if you have better options, sure, but not just because he had a 0.
I just found that absolutely mind blowing. Like literally more than half of his stats, almost half of his receptions, yards, all of his touchdowns are just on third down alone.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of weird stuff here going on in this game over here in London. Snap just went over Trevor Lawrence's head. He picks it up. He just kind of tosses it over his head again, so it's a fumble. Everyone's diving all over the place, knocks the ball out of bounds. Jaguars
3rd and 36.
He doesn't get Trevor Lawrence doesn't get charged the fumble.
Oh, it was just a total absolute debacle right there.
At least he didn't get the fumble.
Because after a big ETN play, either a screen or a run too, so they got in onto Buffalo territory and then just right out of it. Now it's looking like they're gonna punt. So,
God. Trevor Lawrence not doing well. Can you get like 300 yards passing just once this year?
London games are always icky, man.
No, I think Doug Peterson's offense right now just looks icky. All right, on to the next question here, because I agree with you. I never answered, but it's Ferguson over Waller right now, especially in full point PPR. Brian wants to know, is he starting Gainwell, CEH, or Tajay Spears?
Ugh.
I'll go Spears here. Again, it's a deeper league, but I'll go Spears, man. He looks good last week. I mean, he's looked good every single touch he's had pretty much this year. And like where none of those guys are guaranteed a lot of volume, I'll take the guy that I think is the most talented and who I think is still going to get like the most guaranteed work with a 3. So I'll go Spears here.
I don't even think there's guaranteed work for any of these guys. That's where I'm kind of like, ugh.
I think Spears has like 7 or 8 touches every single game so far this year. Like he's been pretty involved each week.
That Derrick Henry blow-up game, though, it almost kind of just worries me a little bit about those touches going down a smidge. Safety is the Spears play because you're right. Out of all these guys, he probably has the most guaranteed touches with like 5 to 8. You know what I mean? Where Gainwell's probably not going to get worked in because Swift, and then you got Isaiah Pacheco and Derek McKinnon with CEH. Oh, man, but it's ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's had 10, 8, and 8 for touches the last 3 weeks. So like he's involved, and I think like 3 of the 4 games he actually like outsnapped Henry too. I'm pretty sure.
There's a league I'm
yeah.
desperate in. I'm starting Tajay Spears. So I mean, I'll go with what I'm already doing. So all right. Blake Waller, start 1 PPR league. He needs the highest ceiling. He obviously played Fields and more this week. All right. Ramondre Stevenson, who's hurt against the Saints, who the Saints have not allowed a single running back touchdown, if I remember correctly from Jamie. Jacoby Myers versus the Packers or Drake London versus the Texans? He wants a ceiling play. This one I'll go with a Myers because I don't think London has a ceiling.
Really?
I don't think London has a ceiling. Hell, he doesn't
I
even
actually
have
feel
a
like
floor.
I feel like the ceiling play is London, but yeah, the floor is like absolute 0 there.
It's a trap floor.
Yeah, I'm with Jordan there as well.
Yeah, I think I'll go London. If you're just swinging for upside, I'd probably go London here. But
it's hard to give a guy a high ceiling when they don't throw it more than 30 times.
But he catches touchdowns, Mike. What if he catches 2 this game? You know what I mean? I think he's got 1 or 2 or 3 straight games.
Or
what if he sees more than 5 targets? You know, so
what if this offense just scores 3 points again, like they did last week?
You very well could. I think they scored more than 3. Didn't Drake London catch a touchdown last week?
Oh, did he get bailed out in the garbage time? Because I remember he only had like 3 points. The entire team only had 3 points for like 3.5 quarters.
Pretty sure he found the end zone again. But I think I'm with Jordan. I think I go London here. Stevenson, obvious. I know he said he needs a ceiling play. I think Stevenson is probably the best play out of the 3. I just feel like he's got to bounce back at some point. I know it's not a great matchup, but if he's looking for
terrible
ceiling,
matchup,
I think it's London too.
I think it's more Myers against a crappy Packers defense. I think the Texans defense has actually been better than the Packers so far this year, where it's a little bit tougher for London. But hey, that's what we're here for. We're not here to all agree. We're here to give differing opinions. All right. Oh, okay. Nice. Sam Bauer wants to know, are we playing Michael Wilson from the Cardinals or Tyler Boyd with the T. Higgins injury?
This one here is Tyler Boyd. I think you should play it safe. We know he's going to have a role with T. Higgins out. Michael Wilson, he saw 7 targets last week, had the blow-up week with the 2 touchdowns, but I still don't think he's guaranteed anything, Mike. I think Boyd is, so I think that's where you should lean, is Tyler Boyd here.
Boyd is the safer play, in my opinion, with the T. Higgins injury. Boyd is shown to be a part of this offense when he's out, when T. Higgins is out. So I go Boyd. But Wilson, he does have a higher ceiling, in my opinion. We just saw him score 2 touchdowns. So, it's, again, I'm going to keep reiterating it. If you play DJ Moore, you're playing Michael Wilson for the higher ceiling. If you didn't, just play Boyd, play it safe.
Just got some active
What was the
in
question? My computer just completely freaked out. I couldn't hear.
Oh, good.
A little bit there.
It's your boy Michael Wilson from the Cardinals or Tyler Boyd?
Yeah, Michael Wilson.
All right. And then what's your news, Dylan? I got that too, but I was just talking.
Go ahead. If you got it pulled up, I lost it now.
You goon. Give me a second. My phone.
I got Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown officially inactive. Justice Hill is active today. Odell's active. Josh Reynolds active. Jameson Williams active. Saquon Barkley will not play this week.
Jonathan Taylor officially active. Calvin Ridley being evaluated for a concussion right now.
Just got cleared to return. Now got a notification.
Just got it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Underdog NFL, Mike.
Yeah. Okay. So I got mine from the My Fantasy Life app.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Underdog's real fast too with it too.
Did you guys talk about Joe's comment he just put in there too?
No, I don't listen to Joe.
I missed
Come
it.
on.
No, what do we got?
Chris Olave has an ankle injury possibly. What does that mean? Possibly.
He's questionable, like everybody is in this league right now.
I was gonna say it's not like he has my ankles where I know it's an ankle injury already.
What is everyone's panic meter on Gabe Davis? Catch the ball, man. Not on Gabe Davis.
I was like, no, really?
Panic meter on Chris Olave with the Derek Carr shoulder, AC joint, whatever it is, the issue going on, and the offense just looking like downright crap the past few weeks. Are we freaking out, man?
I'm not freaking out, but I'm panicked.
So for redraft, maybe a little, but it's a great buy low opportunity in Dynasty right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you that as well.
I'm a little worried because that's where Olave made his hay, is those deep passes, and that's where Derek Carr was good, is those deep passes. He's a very accurate deep ball thrower, but it's hard to be a deep ball thrower accurately when you have an AC joint sprain. So that's where I'm a little bit more worried, and I kind of get an uptick to players like Kamara and Michael Thomas who are going to get the short yardage.
This game is totally gross in London. Buffalo has to punt after Davis.
After games like this, why does London want another game?
The fans show up, man.
They do. The fans love it.
Hell there, yeah.
Oh, man. So I just got another notification. Our boy Braxton Berrios is clear. Chase Claypool is out officially today.
Do you think they left him at home just like the Bears? Just told him to stay home.
He chose to stay home. He had the option. Right?
I did see that it was a wild stat that the Bears have just been on fire ever since they told Claypool to sit his ass down. So
yeah, there was one.
They made a good move
too. They were like saying that basically like the addition by subtraction of having Mooney actually producing in the wide receiver 2 spot.
I don't know if he's really producing.
I was like, all right. But, I mean, compared to Claypool, I guess.
Yeah, he's producing drops, but at least he's he's blocking.
Routes.
Yeah,
apparently it helps the Bears to have an Equanimous St. Brown active and out there blocking in the run game as well. Did you guys also see that it looks like, got an update this morning, excuse me, Khalil Herbert's going to miss probably multiple weeks with that ankle injury.
High ankle sprain.
That's tough.
And Roshan went out. Roshan went out with a concussion last week. On Thursday. Sorry. I was just going to ask you, is that someone who needs to definitely make my waiver wire column this week?
I would say, I mean,
if
you I would say it's at least putting him on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't dropped
him in a couple leagues, that's tough. Yeah. I dropped him in a few.
I mean, all those healthy scratches, how do you justify keeping him on the roster? I get it. But yeah,
this is a guy I thought was going to be good too. Like he was on pace for like 1,300 yards after he took over as a starter last year. And
in all honesty, Jordan,
scratches, I was like,
when he touched the ball too, like he played the first week, he ran hard. He looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a case of
too many
Khalil Herbert and Roshan being better.
For sure.
Well, I mean, it's also just, I think they play the same roles. Like there's no need having three running backs active in a game who play the same three roles when you got Travis Homer and Roshan.
That was messed up on Thursday too, when it was Blossom game finishing out the game with all the carries. We got all of a sudden, I'm like, where's Travis Homer? I'm like, he's always active because of special teams. And then right after I say that, they pan it to the sideline and he's sitting there with helmet off. And they said that he tweaked a hamstring on a special team play. I'm like, this is incredible right now. Just wild stuff, Mike. But we can get back to some start-sit questions if you want to.
No, all good. All good. All right. This one's a fun one. Felix wants to know, Tyler Boyd, Jonathan Taylor, or do you play Jameson Williams making a season debut with the flex?
It's Tyler Boyd here for me.
Who was it? Sorry, Boyd.
Boyd, Jonathan Taylor, or Jameson Williams? I'll go last.
JT for me.
It's JT for me as well. Jameson Williams, I did get the update earlier this morning that he will be on a snap count. As odd as that sounds, considering you have the Amon-Ra St. Brown injury. But yeah, that scares me a little bit.
Little Jameson Williams, no, I don't have him on any team, but if I did in Dynasty, I would be trying to sell like before the game starts. Like right now. Right now.
Before his value can go down.
He's got like a little glimmer of hope right now. Like, yeah, if I can get like something back, like don't sell him for like a second, but if you can get like a real asset back, like now I'm making that swap.
Absolutely. Oh, appreciate you, Bob Dole.
Yeah, sorry.
I saw you do that, Dylan. This is why I handled the comment.
We could definitely get you one of those, Bob. Hit us up somehow on Twitter, whatever. We could figure out a way to get you a hat, and for always support. We appreciate you.
Boss man Joe's watching, so you heard that, Joe. We're giving somebody a hat. All right, on to the next one here. Start 2. Matt Breida, Jordan McLaughlin for the Broncos, Tyler Algier, or Chuba Hubbard. Full point PPR. Oh, man.
Sorry. Say those again. Chuba, McLaughlin, or who?
Chuba, McLaughlin, Algier, or Breida. Full point PPR. I'm going to make it easy for you. The safe play is Breida with Barkley officially out.
Breida's never safe, my friend.
It's not
Barkley
safe, but as far as volume,
Barkley
as far as volume's concerned, Breida's going to get the most out of these guys. But I think the highest ceiling out of these guys is McLaughlin. I said it on the Friday show. He only had 16 snaps last week.
Look
And in
good.
16 snaps, he was RB10.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, his thanks to fantasy data, his God damn it, Joe. Take it out of my paycheck. But yeah, McLaughlin's fantasy points per 100 snaps on fantasy data was actually more than Christian McCaffrey's throughout the year. I know it's a very, very small sample size, but that is an impressive stat. So I think he's got the higher ceiling out of those four.
Yeah, I would agree there.
I don't know who to pick out of these guys. This is brutal. I mean,
You don't want to just go with the safe play of Breida just
I
because
would-
of the
I would-
volume?
yeah.
yes, I
Breida.
don't think it's safe, dude. It's gross.
Well, I say safe as a vague context because let's be honest, out of all four of these guys, nobody's safe.
Yeah,
If you burned a waiver spot on McLaughlin, roll him out this week. Otherwise, why'd you burn the waiver spot, right? Like, get him out there, man. Why not?
And Chuba, it's interesting though. Yeah, I hear that, Jordan, for sure. Yeah, maybe I go there if Javante is not playing for sure. Chuba also saw 14 carries last week, which was weird. Did you guys
Sanders
notice
is
that?
off the injury portfolio now, though. So I think he had like a groin injury. He's kind of been battling from. So hopefully he looks less crappy moving forward than he has because they have a lot of teams that could use that.
Yeah. All right. On to the next here. Ooh. Romeo Dobbs or Rashee Rice? Full point PPR.
Dobbs.
It is Dobbs.
Dobbs as well.
It is
Yep.
Dobbs, yeah.
It's hard to trust any receiver on that offense.
But
for
I
Chiefs.
Ike had some good stats on the Friday show about
For Rashee.
Rashee's participation and stuff, and it looks good there. But for now, it's Dobbs for sure.
It's literally Andy Reid or Matt Nagy. They just got a top hat. They got some names on a piece of paper. They just pull out three and go, all right, you three are on the field. Let's go.
Yeah,
That's
no
pretty
shit.
much what it is right now. Sky
And
Moore.
every once in a while, they throw some extra like back end tight ends in the mix too. Like, no,
Exactly.
touchdown for you. Why not?
I mean, Sky Moore is the one who is the wide receiver who has the most snap participation, but yet I wouldn't be playing him. It's Rashee Rice if you're playing a receiver. All right. Matthew wants to know Jacoby Myers or the hot, well, not hot after last week, but hot just in general, Tank Dell in the flex. Full point PPR. Man, I got crushed by Tank Dell last week.
Did you just say you think Tank Dell's hot, by the way?
Oh, yeah, he's so hot.
Yeah,
So-
totally cool if you do. I got no problem with
So
that.
hot.
But give me Jacoby Myers here.
Judge me all you want. I don't
No,
care.
I'm not judging you. It's totally cool.
I'll go Tank Dell here too. That's my guy. I'll go Tank here.
I actually like Tank Dell this week in those matchups where Houston doesn't have a tough challenge. Like, because here's the thing, AJ Terrell's going to lock up Nico Collins, I think, today, and it's going to leave Tank Dell free to just run around. So, like, that's what I kind of look at. Thank you, Bob Dole. He agrees. So hot. I am comfortable with my sexuality. Do it. Make fun of me. I don't care. All right.
I'm making fun of you, man. I was just curious.
I know.
I was just
I'm having fun with it. You're fine. Frankie wants to know Rashee Rice or Jalen Warren in PPR with the news of Najee being a little
man.
banged
No,
up.
it's Warren
I
for
think
me.
Warren, yeah.
More
Agreed.
defined role for sure there.
I hate being wrong about Najee. Najee, do something.
It's just one problem. He's not any good.
Then why do you get drafted in the first round? You don't get drafted in the first round if you're not any good.
Oh, it happens all the time.
Unless you're Jamarcus Russell.
Trent Richardson, gross stuff like that, man.
How dare you? Trent Richardson was an RB1 his rookie year.
So was
At least he did
Najee.
it one time.
So was Najee. They're the damn
was.
same guy.
Shut it. All right. Jonathan Stark. Ooh, Brees Hall or Kyron Williams?
Zay Jones.
Brees Hall officially no snap count, they're saying.
Yeah, he's supposed to get a bigger workload. Has a cupcake matchup against the
Man.
Broncos.
I think it's Brees, man. Like if he's fully healthy and gonna get a full workload. I mean, he's like RB 4 or 5 when he's fully healthy. Like it works probably.
According to fantasy data, the Broncos allow 40 points to running backs in half-point PPR leagues. And then the next highest is the Arizona Cardinals at 29. It's an 11-point difference between the 1 and the 2. That's how bad the Broncos' run defense is this year.
Mm-hmm.
Man, but I can't sit Kyron Williams.
That's your boy, man. I'm impressed. That's your guy. Okay, what's your ride or die?
give me Kyron Williams. If it was me personally, I'd be starting Kyron Williams. I love Breece Hall's matchup this week. If you played against DJ Moore, throw Breece Hall in. He's going to have more points. If the stars align for Breece Hall, he'll have more points than Kyron Williams. But I'm afraid if he doesn't, I'm going to get silly stringed, and you are also going to lose the week.
I think I'm with Jordan there. Give me Breece Hall because of the matchup.
I can't. I always fall for it,
he's
guys.
He's going to smash.
I always fall for it. I always go like, but the matchup is so juicy. But give me the guy who's RB3 right now in Kyron.
Chris Olave officially active today.
Or 4.
That's probably good. If not, that dude I made the trade with is probably gonna have a stroke if he immediately trades CD for Olave and he misses a game.
I guess it happened in pregame warm up. I know Joe was talking about it, but I totally missed.
I didn't see the video. Yeah, he said there was a video.
Yeah.
All right. Gosh,
that's crazy. Wow.
Breece Hall or Kyron Williams. Ugh. All right. Ooh, I want to see you pick Jake Ferguson on this one, JJ. Jake Ferguson or Mark Andrews?
You can't.
That's what I said. I'm like, you can't sit Mark Andrews, even though Ferguson has those red zone targets.
Especially not against Pittsburgh, man. Like, I feel like Baltimore might kind of kick the shit out of him a little bit today. So I think I can cuss on the show. If not, my bad.
No, you can cuss. It is what it is. We're all adults here. I mean, it's like the Pat McAfee show. This is the real life. Real life people swear. Sorry. It's just how it is. All right.
This is a good one.
This is a good one. Wayne needs to start 3. Oh, my God. Have fun. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, Breece Hall, and Alvin Kamara. Wayne, you're hoarding these RBs, and I love it.
Man,
you're starting Josh Jacobs for sure because the matchup against the Packers is pretty juicy. You're starting Breece Hall. And then I'm stuck between Achane and Kamara here. Yeah, I think it's Kamara.
I'm with you.
I think it's Kamara slightly over Achane.
Ooh, Stephon Diggs getting heated on the sideline. Interesting.
Man.
Pulling an AJ Brown.
Okay, that's way too many people at once. Give me like 3 at a time here.
We got JT, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane.
Okay,
Breece
so we'll
Hall.
drop JT out of those. So we got Jacobs, Achane,
Breece Hall, Kamara.
It's Jacobs for sure.
I'll sit Kamara and roll with Achane. Yeah.
I'm sitting Achane and Jonathan Taylor out of these ones. Oh man, Jonathan Taylor. I'm just out of these options. I'm worried will be the worst one.
It's kind of like that situation earlier with the other question we had where the guy had a ton of good running back options.
Yeah.
Like if you have a good option and you want to see it for a week first, then I think that's.
Oh, you'd go Achane over Breece Hall, Joe. And I remember you telling me that you weren't a big Achane believer either. So I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on that one a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we're not always going to agree, guys. Ultimately, it is your decision, but we'll give you the best options that you have. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, God damn. I had a tough one answering this because I'm the Packers fan here, but Aaron Jones or Breece Hall?
This was Breece.
If I knew Jones was going to get a full snap count, I'd probably go that way. Yes. But yeah, I'll go Breece Hall.
And that's what I kind of just worked with when I answered this question. Talked about the abysmal Broncos run defense. Yeah, it's Breece Hall. Only because I am working off the assumption Aaron Jones is going to not play the full snap load.
What is this tweet from Mike Garafolo? Puka Nacua won't see a decrease in reps. Rams believe enough work available for Cooper Kupp and Puka both. So you mean to tell me you don't think?
I think it's going to be two that loses a little and then Higbee that loses a little bit.
Basically what that means, in my opinion, is he's not going to get a downtick in routes ran. He's going to continue to run routes.
That's what he means. He's not going to be getting 12 to 15 targets every week, though, with Cooper Kupp.
And if he does, man, biggest miss by everyone in the industry.
I know.
Like, holy cow.
That was just a weird tweet to me, but go ahead.
It is a weird tweet how they word those things, word the way. And that's why it's hard to trust coach speak. All right. Ooh, I like this. Michael Stafford. I wonder if he's related to Matthew.
Gotta be.
Gotta be. There's no other Staffords on planet Earth.
100% gotta be.
All right, full point PPR. Matt Breida versus Miami or Alexander Madison versus the Chiefs?
Give me Madison here. I can't do Breida. Even though I'm starting him in Scott Fish, but
Tough matchup, but yeah, I'll go Madison there.
Give me Madison. He's not going to have a lot of yards because the Vikings are going to be probably playing catch up for most of the time, but don't be surprised if he falls into the end zone, maybe twice.
That's fair, Joe. That reps his snaps or routes run, but I don't think he needed to tweet that out then. I don't think anyone was thinking they were going to take Nakua off the field just because Cup was back. That's why it's just weird to me.
It is weird, but maybe they need a reassurance. You know how we are in the fantasy community. We tilt like motherfuckers. Especially when you played somebody like DJ Moore this week. Mm-hmm. I know it's don't talk about our own leagues, but I remember messaging Keith. I know you Dylan knows him, JJ knows it, but I had the Justin Fields DJ Moore stack too, and I dropped 90 on him. It's like, dude, I actually feel kind of sorry for you a little bit. Because I don't know if I win, awesome, cool. But if I lose, I'm a lose. You know what I mean? Because I just came back on 90+ points, even though it's not going to happen. But yeah, on to the next. Ooh, start 3 running backs: Alexander Madison, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, or Jonathan Taylor. I'll let you guys go first since I answered this already on Facebook.
Is this the rare time? Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry.
I was gonna say A-Chain and.
Do you need the names again? Yeah, JT, yeah. Madison, Mostert.
Yeah, I'll go JT here and A-Chain.
And you got one more running back.
Madison or Mostert? Do we do the 2 from each team? Which is
I'm gonna go Madison here. I'll go Madison in that third spot. That first diversify a little bit. Although this is another game where I could see like both running backs having a big game.
That's why I think that's where I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go JT at both Dolphins running backs here.
Oh, okay.
I told him play Taylor in the flex, and I said A-Chain if you played against DJ Moore and Fields this week, and then play both actually if you played against Fields, because we've seen these guys both show that they can go off for 40+ points. It is a rare occasion where they both have a ceiling. If they both go off. But if you want to play it safer and not want to, it's hard to say Madison's safer. But I think
he's safer in the workload. Like he should get
as
more
far
touches,
as the workload. So it's like if I'm going to reiterate it once again. If you play DJ Moore, you can get away with playing Mostert and A-Chain this week in hopes that they both can go off. Both get a touchdown here. That one's a fun one. Dylan, you answered this one, I think, or was this just there was his response? No, that was his response. But Tutu Atwell or Gus Edwards, full point PPR.
I'll go Tutu here.
I'll take Tutu as well. I think he'll be fun.
Yep. He's still going to be one of the deep threats on here. He's still going to get 5-6 targets a game. He has a lower floor now just because he won't see that 9 to 10 targets a game, but he only needs 1 or 2 to make a big game there. So yeah, I'll go Tutu.
Yeah, and Justice Hill's active too. So maybe if Justice Hill wasn't active, I would lean Gus Edwards here, but give me Tutu for sure.
Yeah. At first when he asked the question, I did not know if it was full point PPR or half. So I said full point was Tutu. Give me Gus Bus if it's half. But he did confirm it is full point PPR when I asked him. So it is Tutu Atwell still for me. I will bypass this question because unfortunately it was a Calvin Ridley or Christian Watson question, which at this point you either played Ridley or you're stuck with Watson. Sorry. Full point PPR. Kinsley wants to know Hunter Henry or George Kittle.
Wow.
I'll let you think about it a little bit. I'll give you my answer. So I said Henry's safer. He's 100% safer than George Kittle right now. But again, if you play DJ Moore, you're not getting 2 to 3 touchdowns from Hunter Henry. You're going to get that possibly from George Kittle if he can do it. If he gets the workload finally, it's just hard to predict that.
Kittle usually has good games on us too. So
but he has the higher ceiling, 100%.
I still lean Kittle. Yeah, I still lean Kittle here. If I'm choosing between these two guys, I'm going Kittle.
Mm-hmm. I agree there. Yeah.
Much better offense too.
Much better offense that doesn't need him, except for run blocking.
You're not wrong there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I looked at his snap counts. He is second on the team behind only Purdy on being on the field. But yet is averaging on that 100 points, fantasy points per 100 snaps. He's averaging 3.7 PPR points per 100 snaps.
He's got to stop blocking so well, man. So they keep asking him to do that. You know what I mean?
He started missing a few.
It's like when you're doing anything under the sun at work, and then your boss all of a sudden expects you to keep doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? You got to relax a little bit off of this.
You gotta coast a little bit, man.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to show them your potential right away.
Exactly.
You gotta make them pull it out of you slowly.
Man, Zay Jones has a knee injury and is questionable to return.
I saw that, yeah, and it was a knee problem with him coming into this game and why he missed the last couple. So that's definitely not ideal. And they also said that he was getting help to the medical tent, so you never want to hear that either.
I finally saw the video here. Andy Holloway from Fantasy Footballers looks like an ankle for Chris Olave. No bueno ahead of the matchup. Pivot if you have a good option, which I mean, if you don't have a good option over Olave, it's hard.
I do. I got CD.
Yeah, there you go. Play CD over him. But yeah, if you got another option over Olave against a tough matchup against the Patriots, I would probably almost go with it.
Oh, shoot.
You gotta just rapid fire these for a few more, Mike.
Yeah, we got 3 more questions left. Rapid fire them here. All right. Adrian wants to know, Tank Dell or Adam Thielen?
Give me Thielen there.
Yeah, Thielen. Mm-hmm.
It's Tank Dell for me. Thielen really benefited huge from Andy Dalton from that 1 week, and he's
still
holding him
saw
up.
A bunch of targets last week, man.
Yeah, but that one game is holding him up at wide receiver 10 right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
I just think he's daddy in that offense for sure. So I'm.
It's just Bryce Young is junior in that offense. He's not daddy. So that's my concern. Where Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, comes in, at least all targets are not created equally.
Sure.
All right, start 3 wide receivers, full point PPR: Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Tutu Atwell, and DeAndre Hopkins. So just, I mean, in my opinion, I still start Chase. Yep.
Do
you start Collins or Tank Dell? It's
Collins.
Exactly. Out of those two. And then it's between Olave, pretty much, Tutu Atwell, and Hopkins, because you're probably not going to be playing Tank Dell and Nico Collins.
Oh, man, I haven't seen the video, so like my gut says Olave.
Yeah,
but I have not seen how bad it was, so that's my caveat. I could look at the video once I get out of here and be like, that's going to swell up and be tough to run on. As someone who's broken both ankles multiple times. So I think Olave, if not, probably Hopkins, I think. Probably my fallback after that. Yeah.
Give me Chase, Olave, and Collins still. I'm going with those 3.
If your other options are Tutu Atwell and DeAndre Hopkins, I'm still going with Olave.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those ones you don't have a CD Lamb. You go Olave.
Yeah.
And then our good buddy Clayton to finish it off. Start 1. DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, or Josh Reynolds with ARSB absent.
Give me Hollywood.
Yeah, I agree.
Give it a clean sweep.
Josh Dobbs.
It's Hollywood. Baby. I said Hollywood. I said Reynolds has the higher ceiling because of, Monroe St. Brown being out. But Hollywood's safer. He's wide receiver 18 right now, guys, in fantasy points per game, or 17, and then he's fantasy points per game 18. It's just great consistency there. But all right, that pretty much wraps up the as far as the start-sit portion goes. And I know you guys, this is what you all been waiting for. The DFS, half hour with Dave, Eddy, and Chris Robbin. We're going to get to it. But before we do, Dylan, tell us where everybody can find your stuff at.
You can check out the waiver wire article at fantasy6pack.net. It comes out Tuesday morning as well. You can find the video as well on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel right here, guys. And then just our Friday show as well, where we preview our weekly games. But that's pretty much it for me. Jordan, how about yourself?
So every Sunday morning here with you guys. Then on Monday morning, I have a fantasy football recap article that comes out on the site. It's free. So members get it. If you're not a member, it's a good chance to kind of check out some free content, see if it's a good fit for you to come join the membership and come hang out with us in our Discord and all that. And then Monday afternoon, I'll have my Dynasty podcast coming out here on the YouTube channel. So if you're following and watching here, you'll be able to see it tomorrow when it comes out. Sundays and Mondays, baby.
And if you want deep access to his Dynasty rankings, sign up to be a member. They're worth it, guys.
They go like crazy deep. It's dumb. It's like 300
stupid deep
or something.
Stupid deep. Guys that you're peeking and poking and prodding on the waiver wire, trying to get people to pick them up before they go off. So It's worth it, guys. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate hanging out with you every Sunday morning. It's always fun. You help my ego get pushed down a little bit with my picks. So
See you
that's
guys.
always nice. Have a good one.
Awesome, man. Have a good one.
Oop. All right, guys. And now, again, for the dessert of the show, where you guys make all the money, please help me welcome Dave, Eddy, and Chris Robbin. Take it away, guys. It's all yours. I'll get your background.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mike. And I said in the comment there, Dave's muted again. So now
I know
you owe me like 17 cases of beer at this point. I
Ugh.
don't even drink, but every time you're muted and you talk, that's a penalty. That's a
You
flag.
see,
So
that's what I get for trying to be thoughtful and polite. You know, like I put it on mute just in case, and then I forget because. Anyways,
I do the same thing. It's all good. How you doing this morning? It's a wild morning. We had talked about it personally through some text messages already before we went live. There's a lot to get to in a short period of time because lock is about 56, 57 minutes away. And I know you had just told me before we went live here that you're like, I don't know what to do. But on my end, I was picking up groceries a moment ago at Kroger. And while I was waiting in my car for them to load the groceries, I had a breakthrough in terms of the 1 p.m. line. So let's just get right to it. I'll shoot it to you. We have some inactives, and then we're going to get right into some of our favorite plays to make some cash. So Dave, take it away, baby.
Yep. So not as great as usual, and previously it has been the injury news that has kind of thrown things up in the air. I'll get into it a little bit more here after I cover these inactives and stuff. But for me, it was really just two completely different style cash builds, and I was struggling. But I got it all sorted out, of course, and here we are. So let's talk inactives. Some of these will be obviously more important than others, but Justice Hill, it looks like he is going to be active. So that kind of murkies the backfield a little bit for Baltimore if you were going that route. Odell Beckham is going to be active. We already knew that Rashad Bateman was going to be active, so that pretty much gives us, the full complement of Baltimore guys. If you were looking to go that route, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be inactive. He had a late week injury. David Montgomery was someone that I was already really high on. Now everyone and their mother is going to be playing David Montgomery. He's looking to be an absolute smash this week, but with a high ownership percentage. So yeah, that gives a lot more help to our 2 touchdown parlay there. Maybe we should have made it 3 if we would have known, but that helps us there. Amon St. Brown, he's also going to be out. That one came as a little bit of a surprise to me earlier in the week. Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, obviously greatly benefit. Sam Laporta greatly benefits there as well. Again, just another reason that David Montgomery is probably going to get 30-plus touches today. John Mechie, he's going to be active. Jonathan Taylor, we found out earlier this week, he's going to be back. I haven't heard if he's going to be on a snap count or anything, but I would expect that he would be. So do what you will with that information. Ramondre Stevenson, he is going to be active. I think he makes an interesting correlation play with the New England defense this week. But I don't know how limited, if at all, he will be. Juwan Johnson is out. That opened up Foster Moreau as a complete punt tight end, at least on DraftKings. That's part of what caused me some angst because I was able to fit something in that I didn't think was possible. But again, we'll get back to that. Derek Carr's active. Figured as much after he played last week. Saquon Barkley is inactive. That's going to make it really hard to, for the Giants to push the Dolphins today. So Dolphins are in a real smash spot. But if Barkley doesn't play and the Giants can't score, who knows how much of the Dolphins will see the field. Pat Fryermuth is out. No big surprise. Bye week coming up next week for him. Treylon Burks is out. Kyle Phillips comes back from the IR to replace him. I know we talked about Nick Westbrook-Akine earlier in the week, so that gives him a little bit, more. T. Higgins is not ruled out because he plays in the afternoon, but T. Higgins is almost surely out. I don't know exactly how that makes people feel because Burrow is far from 100% healthy. I think Jamar Chase is extraordinarily viable. I would look at him more of a MME play, though, just because Burrow has been so bad and that offense has been so bad. But, more love to be had for Chase potentially. Tyler Boyd then becomes an option. Of course, Joe Mixon might get a little bit more work as well. Javonte Williams looks like a true game time decision still at this point. If he plays, it's interesting. If he doesn't play, people are going to gravitate to some Jaleel McLaughlin. We're not going to get the news that we need, in time for this lock here in 50 minutes. So do what you will there. Cooper Kupp, we know he's active. He's back. I have seen no limitations for him. So I think he makes a very interesting GPP play. Cheapest you're going to get Cooper Kupp all season long. It goes back to week 1 when we had such great pricing on guys and we could just, jam in whoever we wanted. This is the week if you want to play Cooper Kupp to do that. Risky for cash because we don't know what we're going to see. But, man, if you want to go there, I get it. And I think that's the news there, Chris. So anything you want to add in regards to that news, or did you just want to move on and go into our plays?
I think we should just move on and get right to our plays because as it stands now, this is week 5. And again, I never want to treat anybody like they're stupid or like they're dummies, but anybody that's tuned into this broadcast now or has watched this broadcast previously, I'd like to think they have a good grasp on sports betting and DFS and ins and outs and what to pivot and where to pivot if need be. So I think we should move on and talk about the quarterbacks and the running backs. And you know what? I chastised you before the season started, right? We're going to do this noon to 1. And I saw the look on you remember the look on your face. You're like,
yeah. I said, I don't know.
Can't do that. I don't know if I can do that because I'm going to have, all these entries to kind of, to edit. And I'm in that case now. Now I'm on your team. So I'm sorry I treated you that way earlier in the season because now I am like that. But again, I did get some edits in while I was waiting for groceries at Kroger. When we look at week 5, as I said, Patrick Mahomes, by far and away the stud at quarterback in terms of pricing. And as we mentioned in the DFS den that was aired yesterday morning, if I'm not mistaken, Jared Goff is in play for me. But again, Jared Goff isn't going to be asked to do a lot here. I think, Detroit can beat Carolina, in a million different ways without Jared Goff tossing the ball all around. But again, Jared Goff, given his price tag, all you need is 1 or 2 touchdown passes, which I think he does. CJ Stroud, Houston is playing Atlanta. Again, another game that I like, and you made fun of me on Saturday morning for that. And again, I'm just predisposed to that kind of thing from a DFS perspective. I love all those nasty DFS games are where I find value, where I can dig deep and get into bottom of the barrel stuff. CJ Stroud has been, to me, the best rookie quarterback going this season so far. And again, Anthony Richardson is close, but again, he missed a game with the concussion. As we go down the list, Matthew Stafford, I know you might talk about him, so I'll pass on him. Zach Wilson, the Jets go to Denver. Denver's dead last against opposing quarterbacks. And Zach Wilson, last time we saw him, it looked as if he was kind of catching on to this offense. And again, the Jets, as I say, the Jets formulated this entire offense around Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and they didn't have any time to switch it on the fly after Rodgers was hurt. So Zach Wilson had to kind of step in and learn all this stuff a second, a third time. So let's give this kid some due here. And when you look at his price tag on FanDuel, 6.7, I love that. I have Zach Wilson for around 230, 240 yards. And I think he throws 2 touchdown passes. And if we're lucky, he can also score on the ground too. So Zach Wilson, 3 touchdowns, that would be absolutely beautiful given the price tag. And I'll give you one more guy. Arizona's playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati is they're a mess. And it's actually stinks because Cincinnati was not too long ago playing in the Super Bowl. They were good. And I don't know what the heck is going on there. And again, I like the Arizona DST, but we'll get there. But Joshua Dobbs, to me, is a very good play from a value perspective. Only 6.6 on FanDuel, 5.2 on DK, and he's going to I was going to say he's going to get it done, but he's not an all-pro stud quarterback. We don't need him to be an all-pro stud quarterback. But at his price tag, 6-7 carries, 35 to 40 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and boom, you're looking at 2-3 times the value. So I'm all over Stroud, I'm all over Zach Wilson, and I'm all over Joshua Dobbs. So not much has changed for me since the last time you and I have gotten together, Dave. So what are you looking like for some of your cash quarterbacks? Hit me with them.
Well, first things first, we got somebody that you may know, Chris, commenting here. Young man by the name of Braden lets us know that, the person with the best intros is watching. So we need to do a little bit better because he's just right below me. So he's keeping an eye. He's taking notes. We're going to have an after action meeting so we can discuss things so that, we know what we need to improve on. But thank you, Braden. I love you too.
Well, Braden, we're here putting in the work and broadcasting while you're probably playing video games. So if you want to come and sit next to your father and broadcast, run it. Let's do it. I don't know if you would allow that, but hey, who knows? So Braden, glad you're here and watching us and keeping us in check. You always love to see that.
So the quarterback. So that let me make it into a slightly bigger discussion, and then I'll pull it back. So what I was debating between this week and cash was, especially once we knew about Foster Moreau, it became viable. I was able to make it work to where I could get David Montgomery, who we'll get to, is an absolute lock for me. Bijan Robinson is a guy that, I've been locked in the entire time. I really wanted to be able to play Jefferson or Hill with them. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do that. I was able to make it work where I could get them both in. So I could get Montgomery, Bijan, Jefferson, and Hill in, which meant I had to pivot from Mahomes to Stafford, which I was already thinking about doing anyways. I really like the New England defense, but I had to move down to Tennessee, which is totally fine, absolutely viable. I was able to slip in Wan'Dale Robinson. I was able to slip in Khalif Raymond, and I could make it work. The problem is, and this is where it became a really good game theory conversation in our DFS Discord this morning, was as much as I love that lineup and being able to get back to going full stars and scrubs, it left a lot to be desired because it was, 6 points less for projections than my more balanced lineup. And so I really was debating between, do I want to go with, being able to play all those studs, or did I want to go with a better projected lineup? And my heart said, play the 4 guys because, man, those 4 alone could win it for you. But my brain won out, and I just couldn't go the lineup that projected 6 full points less. 6 points is a whole lot. If it had been 1.5 2 points, that's not too uncommon. A lot of times the difference between, once I get to this point in the week, the difference between, my top projected lineup and, my lowest considerable lineup is maybe 1.5 2 points. So if it had been in that 2-point range, I probably would have rolled with it, but six is a whole lot. So let's go ahead and move into what I'm doing here. So I'm playing Patrick Mahomes today. I wanted to play Patrick Mahomes the whole time, but once we knew that Kupp was coming back, Stafford became extraordinarily viable. Stafford has been fantastic. He's going up against the Eagles, who have turned into a pass funnel because they're so good against the run. But I've decided to go with Mahomes. If you want to go Stafford, again, I was with him most of the week, and I just had to pivot. And I'm going Mahomes now because I can make it work. We've got some serious value. Jalen Hurts is the other guy I'll mention. He's extraordinarily viable too. Mahomes and Hurts, there's only a little bit of a difference in them for price on DK. I was really debating between the two of them very early in the week. The extra little bit of money for Hurts did make a difference. But I thought that was going to be the decision. It ended up coming down to Mahomes and Stafford, and that became a bigger discussion about the lineup as a whole, Chris. So Larry here, our guy from Discord, says the economic gap between Chris and I grows wider. He's adjusting lineups at Kroger. He's doing the same thing, but he's at Family Dollar.
They both serve their purpose. I was getting groceries, Larry. I don't know what you were doing at Family Dollar, but I'm not saying Family Dollar is a great place to get value, and that's what we're all about here at the DFS Den. And I got to say that was a beautiful segue. Let's talk about some running backs here. We mentioned Derrick Henry is the most expensive running back on the slate, rightfully so. The Colts are 20th overall against opposing running backs, and I said it on the DFS Den broadcast on Saturday. We're going to see a vintage Derrick Henry game. 20 carries, 200 yards. He's going to find the end zone a couple times, but it's those. Where can we find those other little nooks and crannies? And if you look at my list, zoom it in a little bit. I have I found different colors of highlighters, and they mean different things to me. But Breece Hall, the Jets go to Denver again. I've said a million times, I love this game from a Jets perspective. Miles Sanders, who is downtown now playing Detroit, and again, you could say, well, Chris, you're not redundant, but you're kind of going back on your word, or you're being a little bit, like this. If Detroit's going to win, and if Jared Goff doesn't have to do much, why would I want to play any of the Carolina Panthers? Well, that's a silly answer, silly question, as I'm arguing with myself, because if Jared Goff is able to just give it to Montgomery and let him carry the ball, and then when we get to wide receivers, we're going to get to Khalif Raymond and all that, though. But Miles Sanders is going to be heavily involved in this game, as I see Carolina playing from behind, and Miles Sanders is a damn good pass catcher. That's a point right there for a catch. There's points for yardages and touchdowns. So for me, Miles Sanders is an absolute lock in my GPP lineups, just for that simple fact. I don't care about the DVP. Detroit is very good in terms of pass rush, getting to quarterbacks, but that only further affirms that Miles Sanders will be able to get the ball an extra time or two. If it's Andy Dalton, if it's Young at quarterback, they will quickly release the football, and Miles Sanders will be right there to catch it. And then he has always been very good with yards after catch. As we move down the list, I had Jamar Gibbs highlighted, but as we know, he is going to be inactive today, so that just give me D-Mon all day. But that's more of your kind of area here. Jerick McKinnon is a guy, Kansas City at Minnesota. Now look, when we talk about Jerick McKinnon, he was the darling waiver wire ad last season. The Super Bowl run was awesome. I'm kind of repeating myself from the same broadcast, but everybody's kind of lost faith in Jerick McKinnon. It's all about Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire to a certain extent, but do not look past Jerick McKinnon against Minnesota. This could be one of those games, and I wrote it in the margin in like little teeny tiny letters. And again, this comes from no place of any statistics. This is just me and my gut saying that I think that there could be a case to be made where Jerick McKinnon scores 2 or 3 times this week. And again, you can take that or leave that. That's just an opinion of mine, because he's been so down and out these last few weeks. And in seasonal formats, we've had to bench him. DFS formats, he's done nothing. But to me, it's just one of those things where it's the ebb and flow of a football season, where sooner or later the market will right itself. And to me, Jerick McKinnon is going to be in 99.9% of my GPP lineups. 2 more guys, and we'll move on to your running backs here. And that's Taj Spears in Tennessee, the rookie. So if Derrick Henry is going to have one of those vintage games, 20, 30 carries, something like that, and Tennessee gets up big, Taj Spears is going to be involved regardless. He has earned himself 7 to 8 targets or touches a game, maybe even 10. So to me, if Tennessee is going to really put a shellacking on the Colts, Spears is going to be heavily involved, in his price tag. It's unbelievably low. 4.7 on FanDuel, 4.8 on DraftKings, only $12 on Yahoo. And you're looking at, again, 10 to 12 plus targets and touches in a game that would be garbage time. But to me, Taj Spears, if he finds the end zone at those prices, oh my God, we're in the money. One last guy, and that's Ramondre Stevenson Stevenson. The Patriots play New Orleans. New Orleans, tough against running backs. But again, as I said, kind of repeating myself from the Saturday morning broadcast, Stevenson is a wrecking ball. How did I put it? He's a wrecking ball with ballerina slippers or something weird like that. And he's cheap enough to fit in your lineups, and volume is king. You say that volume is king. So give me Sanders, give me Ramondre Stevenson, Jerick McKinnon, and we can even round it out with the rookie Taj Spears in Tennessee. So Dave, I know where you're going. We're very connected in that kind of sense. So hit me with some running backs for your cash pool.
Yeah, like I said, early in the week, Bijan Robinson was in there. I think he was the stud play. I don't think anything's changed. Bijan was a lock, and he still is a lock for me. I don't think I need to get too in-depth there. He's just completely involved in the Atlanta offense, all facets. Dave Montgomery was already a guy that I was probably going to lock in, find out the Amon-Ra news. And I went, wow, okay, well, now I went from probably playing Montgomery to almost definitely playing Montgomery. And then we find out about Jahmyr Gibbs. And I go, okay, well, this is going to be a 30-touch game. That's all we want in cash. He could have been $1,500 more expensive. I would have found a way to play Dave Montgomery. Isaiah Pacheco, I wanted to make sure that I was getting some of this Minnesota, Kansas City game involved. I always figured it was either going to be Mahomes or Pacheco. As it turns out, I'm playing both of them. And there's no problem with that. A lot of times, a quarterback and his running back in cash would be something I would really advise you against. But this is why I say there's pretty much no hard and fast rules in DFS in any format. And this just goes to show, because just the environment of this game, you could very easily get a ceiling performance out of both of these guys. And so I have zero worry about playing them together. Joe Mixon is still in here. I'm worried about this offense, but at the end of the day, Joe Mixon gets the volume, and that's like you said. I say all the time, volume. He leads the league with 86% of his team's running back touches. So of all these guys we talk about getting volume, it has been Joe Mixon more than anybody else. He's also had consistent volume. He's the only running back that has had at least 75% of the team's backfield touches in every single game. So, as much as we're worried about that offense, and rightfully so, if you want to put Joe Mixon in your cash lineup, go for it. Earlier in the week, he kept finding his way in, and I kind of had to keep pushing him out. And then the projections caught up with Montgomery as far as, Gibbs being out and stuff. And so it pushed Mixon to the side naturally, but I was forcing that already. Breece Hall, I talked about him on Saturday. His workload is no longer being limited. I've got him all over the place in my MME stuff. But for cash, I think if you want to go there, I get it. Personally, I kind of want to see it at least, once before I trust it. We're a risk-adverse crowd here in cash. So, there were other ways that I could save money. But, man, his price and his upside this week are just unbelievable. I absolutely understand wanting to play him. And then you want to talk about upside, Devon Achane here. Huge favorite today. Miami is. We talked earlier, Saquon Barkley is out. So I expect that, the Dolphins are going to get up early. How they do that, I don't know. It could be through Achane. It could be through Mostert. It could be through Waddle. It could be through Hill. Who knows? It could be through a variety of people. But once they get that lead, pretty sure they're going to kind of sit on the ball and run a little bit. Now, do they do that with Achane? Do they do that with Mostert? They probably do it with a combination of the two. But we've seen, with the efficiency Achane has had, that he is viable at this point for cash. He has just steadily seen his touches go up and up. So I would say Achane is fine in cash. I get it if you want to play him at MME. If you want to get a little bit off script in MME, I would actually prefer Mostert over Achane, because who's to say Mostert's not going to get 20 touches, and he's not a playmaker. That's a weird way to say that. That's a negative, but Mostert is also a huge playmaker. And so for MME purposes, I'd actually rather go Mostert. He's, at least on DK, he's $100 more expensive. So people are going to go Achane. You can kind of gain some serious leverage with Mostert. But that's what I'm looking at for running backs. Chris, why don't you go ahead and lead us into these receivers?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just that there are so many of them. I had like at one point in time, every time I tell the story, it's like one of those campfire stories. And in like 100 years from now, people will say, well, we heard in week 5, Chris had 1,755 wide receivers he wanted to talk about, when realistically it was only what did I tell you? It was like 30 or 31. And I couldn't fit them all in the article because it would have taken me a week to write one article. So I had to cut it down. I want to start with DeAndre Hopkins. Again, Tennessee is playing Indianapolis. We're going to get a vintage game from Derrick Henry. And if in turn, that means that the Colts are going to stack up and they're going to look to really just try and tackle Derrick Henry. And that means DeAndre Hopkins will be open. And this guy is, I've seen other writers and other websites and articles say, not say he's a bum per se, but he's past his prime and we can kind of, sweep him under the rug and But last time I checked, DeAndre Hopkins, he's 31 years old. That is still a young man. And DeAndre Hopkins can still make contested catches. DeAndre Hopkins is still commands. He has to command not only a ton of respect, but he commands, 7 to 8 targets a game. And when you look at his price tag, 6'1" on FanDuel, 5'7" on DK, past his prime, my ass. I love DeAndre Hopkins this week. And to be fair, he is. Did we add him in our touchdown parlay? Looking at it now,
I don't think so.
I don't think we did, and maybe we'll have to double back and do another one of those.
Another $1.
Yeah. And we'll have time to get to that. Alan Lazard, another guy I like. Again, I won't give you the whole spiel on why I like him. You can rewatch the Saturday morning DFS show. Zay Flowers is in our touchdown pool. Don't look now, but Lamar Jackson is playing well. He's playing fantastic. He is their red zone kind of running back option, but that means nothing for Zay Flowers, who is a wide receiver. And again, Pittsburgh's defensive line is tough. Lamar Jackson can make move. He can spin. He can do whatever he needs to do to kind of extend plays. And that is the reason why I love Zay Flowers this week. I have Zay Flowers, 7-8 targets, 5-6 receptions, 60 to 65 yards. And Zay Flowers will absolutely score a touchdown. Jordan Addison in Minnesota, they're playing Kansas City. Again, that same old tired narrative. Kansas City is going to just beat the shit. Excuse my language, Joe, or anybody. Kansas City hopefully is going to beat the crap out of Minnesota, and Minnesota is going to have to kind of, push the pace of play whenever they get the football. That's absolutely going to benefit Justin Jefferson. But again, his price tag is way too high for bottom of the barrel. And last week, Jordan Addison was skunked. I think he saw a target or two, but he didn't catch a pass. That will not happen this week. So look for Kirk Cousins to get Jordan Addison going and moving, because he is their wide receiver too. You could also make a case for KJ Osborne, in that offense where he's going to be active and being involved in there. So I wouldn't mind, right? Everybody's going to stack Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and, as you mentioned, Pachenko and whatever. I mean, they have like 4 or 5 wide receivers, kind of like the Giants, where it's the shell game here. But when we look at it, why can't we in turn stack Minnesota, just from a perspective of they're going to be playing behind, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Kirk attempt 45 passes. I mean, that is not unrealistic to say. So I wouldn't mind making a lineup with Kirk Cousins. Don't even mention the running backs. Just give me Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison, and then run it back with Pachenko and Kelsey, something along those lines, and you're rolling. Tutu Atwell in LA is another great play. Philadelphia, a great team, a Super Bowl favorite, right? Granted, it's only week 5. Don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but when we look at what the Rams are starting to do, it all begins with Matthew Stafford. He is starting to feel more comfortable. And when Matthew Stafford is on his game, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I'm not saying that from a place of Detroit homerism. I've ran that one into the ground. Matthew Stafford is a phenomenal professional quarterback. And when he is on his game, he is a grizzled, seasoned veteran. He's won a Super Bowl. He knows what he's doing. I got it, Joe. Thank you. I apologize. If you want to dock me pay, you can do that. whatever you need to do. Or if you want to fire me, I will. I'll toss it off to Dave, and we'll see you later. Sorry for saying shit. I won't say shit again. I promise. And we'll move on. When we look at Tutu Atwell, as I was saying, I love him in this offense as Matthew Stafford begins to kind of start to spread the ball around. When Matthew Stafford is at his best, he is just, flinging the football all over the field. So I have Matthew Stafford, honestly, to throw for 300 plus yards. I have Matthew Stafford to throw for 3 touchdowns. And I think Tutu Atwell is a beneficiary of one of those touchdowns. Michael Wilson in that Jets-Denver game. I love that. Or no, excuse me. Michael Wilson is an Arizona Cardinal, and he's the rookie. I love him as well. He scored last week. I think we get it again here. Thankfully, I have a whole set of notes here. Last week against San Francisco, Mike Wilson, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 76 yards, and he scored twice. He is in our touchdown player prop. It's a 10-leg thing, which we should have shared it by now, because by the time lot comes around, nobody will be able to get that in. But I love Michael Wilson. Nick Westbrook-Akeen, as you said last week, that was a beautiful call on your part. I can see that happening again this week in a game where Tennessee just does whatever they want against the Colts. And last but not least, I want to mention Braxton Berrios in Miami. If you want a piece of this game, right, as we said, Miami into it, we've seen comments where Tua is going to be nuts. Even Joe Bond was saying, a chain over Joe Connor, all this stuff. You want a cheap little part of this game, look no further than Braxton Berrios. And I know Tyreek Hill's going to do his thing. Jalen Waddle's going to do his thing, but you can trust Braxton Berrios to see 3 or 4 targets. And he is very slippery and sneaky with yards after catch. So give me Braxton Berrios at like dirt cheap prices. To me, Berrios is an absolute lock in my GPP plays here. So I will then leave it at that. Rashee Rice, Demario Douglas, Van Jefferson, Khalif Raymond. I know you're going to mention him, but I will then toss it to you. Sorry, Joe. I apologize. I saw a chance for a cheap laugh, a cheap joke. I will not use the S word, F word, the MF word. I will never say those words ever again on a live broadcast. My apologies.
You know what, though, Chris? If I was a team player, I would drop an F-bomb right now, because he might be able to fire you, he might be able to fire me, but he sure as heck can't fire both of us, right? Like, then
exactly. So
what are they going to do?
So we could say, if you want to, we could count it down 1, 2, 3, and on 3 we both say mother F, and then we put Joe in a tough spot. What's he going to do?
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm also someone that I'm not above blackmail, so I can always just bookmark. I can bookmark this.
Yeah.
And then
I'm going to start him too. I mean, yeah. I'm sure there's some digging to be done where Joe has done
right there.
Joe is. I'm sure Joe has done some less favorable stuff in his life, and it wouldn't take long for us to dig to find that. So blackmail and extortion are on the table. All we want to do is swear a little bit, Joe, and just play. Let's just play the game here. If not, then it's not good. So. Dave, we're climbing up to lock here. So give me some wide receivers that are 100% in your cash lineups, your cash pools here.
Yeah. So my list hasn't really changed since what we talked about, Saturday morning. Justin Jefferson's been a guy that if he's healthy, he is somebody who is at least a consideration. I always say, death taxes and playing CMC when he's healthy, Justin Jefferson's, hitting that same territory. I've got Justin Jefferson in my lineup today because, even at his price, he's been hitting 3X every single week. And that's what we're looking for, in cash, is a nice safe floor. And, we're getting a safe floor with an incredible ceiling with Jefferson. So loved him all week. He's in my lineup. Khalif Raymond, talked about him. I don't think that's a surprise for anybody. All the injuries on the Detroit side of the ball, we expect that, Raymond's going to fill in that slot role that ARSB was in. He's obviously not going to get the volume. Well, I shouldn't say obviously. He's probably not going to get that volume. But at that price tag, with that opportunity, he has been a no-brainer ever since I heard about ARSB. It was Josh Reynolds prior to that, because Josh Reynolds has been so productive this year. He's not the direct replacement for ARSB, but he's going to get the most additional work. But Khalif was too good to pass up. Wan'Dale Robinson, he's a guy that now that he's back and he's healthy and at his price point, he was the salary saver of the week from the beginning. He has made his way into my lineup. His price would indicate that he's a punt, but I think that he's got the opportunity to very easily hit value on top of just, the salary savings. So he makes his way into my lineup. Other guys that I can absolutely see playing, Adam Thielen. This guy thinks it's, 2018 again with all the targets he's getting. We can put aside the worries about, what happens with him and Bryce Young. Bryce Young's been getting him the ball. He's been more than hitting value each week. So, clear wide receiver 1 here on a team that at least initially in the week we thought was for sure going to be playing from behind. But even with all these Lions injuries, I haven't seen the line shift. So, Vegas still thinks that the Lions are going to, roll in this game. And if that's the case, we're going to be seeing, Adam Thielen get the ball. Jamar Chase is a guy who, again, with T. Higgins being out, he's already an elite wide receiver. He just has been having some quarterback troubles. And his price still is, it just makes him such a great value that if you want to play Jamar Chase, save a little bit of money, instead of playing like Jefferson, for example, I think it's absolutely something you could do. I personally can't get to it. But if you wanted to, I totally get it. Marquise Brown, Hollywood's just a guy who has really been, seeing the volume, doing a lot with it. Like I said on, Saturday morning show, the main stat that you need to know here is that Hollywood is in the top 16 at the wide receiver position in snap share, in air yards, and target share percentage. So he's in the mix. He's getting, good volume. Joshua Dobbs, surprisingly, has been able to get the ball into his playmakers. Maybe not surprisingly, but, more so than I think what a lot of us would have thought. And then that leads me to Michael Wilson, right? Another cheap option you can plug in. It quickly made his way into the wide receiver 2 here in Arizona. I think that he's a guy that, absolutely is in play. He was one of the guys that made it work for me to be able to play Tyreek and Jefferson. I decided to go against that route. But, between him, Khalif, and Wan'Dale, you can make it work. And then Tyreek Hill, same thing as JJ. When he's healthy, with what we've seen of him on the field, he's always going to be an option. Matchup is completely irrelevant to me. I just happen to like JJ more this week, Chris.
Yeah, and that is okay. And while you were talking, I made a revised. I'm going to do it here like a touchdown parlay, and it's going to be Tutu Atwell, Jordan Addison, Adam Thielen, and Alan Lazard so far. And it's okay. We could even throw one together after the 1 o'clock games kick off. We have the 4 p.m. games that we can pick apart, privately or together, and put another, parlay together, which was fun. So. As we move down the list, we'll talk about tight ends. It's around 12:40 Eastern time right now. Kickoff is in around 20 minutes, 25, 22 minutes, wherever you are, Eastern time, Central time, Mountain time. If you're in Canada, same time, whatever. But when we look at tight ends, again, Travis Kelce, anytime he's on the slate, he is going to be the highest priced tight end. Goes without saying. Again, Kansas City's playing Minnesota. Zach Ertz is a guy. Arizona playing Cincinnati this week. Cincinnati 28th overall against opposing tight ends. Zach Ertz is going to be in my player pool in terms of GPPs. He's already been locked in so many of them. I could see Zach Ertz looking at, 7 to not 7 or 8. That would be very ambitious, but let's say like 5 or 6 targets, catches 3 or 4 passes, 40 yards. And even that, I'd be cool with that, because in a PPR format, that'd be 8 or 9 points, right? You get a point per catch, you get a point per 10 yards. And then if you add a touchdown in on that one, which I think they do, because I have Arizona to win, what did I say? 27-14, something like that. So there are 3 to 4 touchdowns to go around for the Cardinals. So why can't Zach Ertz be accountable for one of them?
Hey, let me throw a little fire on that, because you said 7 or 8 targets. You said that might be asking for a little bit too much. He's only had less than 8 targets once so far this season.
Well, shoot.
So just throwing it out there. But continue.
Beautiful. I can only retain so much in my brain. I just assumed, looking at a tight end other than Travis Kelce, wide receivers see that kind of volume. But to be fair, Zach Ertz, in this, would you say Zach Ertz is kind of in the twilight of his career in a way? I don't
unfortunately, yeah.
He's not that's not unfortunately. He's healthy. He's a millionaire. He'll be okay. But to me, Zach Ertz, it has transitioned to more of a wide receiver in a way. Granted, they do ask him to block and all that. He is a big dude. But to me, I look at Zach Ertz as more of a wide receiver these days, and that's okay. As we move down the list, Jonnu Smith in Atlanta, after last week's performance, how can you not want to, double down? And how can I phrase this? You could use the term, well, Chris, you're chasing points, right? Jonnu did that last week and that won't ever happen again. Well, if it doesn't, it doesn't. But if I'm right here, if we're right, then I'd rather be right and him be in my lineups than be wrong and be sick to my stomach that I didn't put him in one of my entries. And when you look at his price tag, they're cheap as heck, $5,000 across FanDuel, 2.9 on DraftKings. And again, Houston has always been bad against tight ends. They're 25th overall. So give me Jonnu Smith to score a touchdown, and I'm going to add him into my second touchdown, anytime touchdown parlay. And then it's just a cast of characters that are just like punt guys: Hayden Hurst, Dalton Schultz, Houston in that same Houston and Atlanta game, Tyler Conklin, Kylan Granson. I like Chig to find the end zone. Tennessee's tight end here, and again, I have Chig catching a touchdown. We have Nick Westbrook-Akeen catching a touchdown. So in turn, you would think, well, then Ryan Tannehill has to be in play if all these touchdowns are going to be thrown about. So hate to rewind or bring the progress of the show to a screeching halt, but sure, we can run it back with what's his name, Ryan Tannehill. So that's what I'm looking like at tight end. There's not a lot to like here. I would prefer to spend up on DST this week and then just leave whatever money I have left over at tight end. And that varies week to week, but this week I'd prefer to pay up for DST rather than a tight end.
Yeah, and like I said, each week is different, right? Nothing carries over as a definite, really from week to week. But for me, nothing really has changed. It's been Zach Ertz and it's been Mark Andrews kind of, tossing it back and forth depending on, what kind of salary I have. In the end, it ends up being Zach Ertz. The volume is just too good. We were talking about how many targets he's been getting. And, you said, well, Kelce's the one that's guaranteed, right? Well, Ertz and Kelce have the exact same target share. They both lead the league 24.8% as far as tight end target share is concerned. Obviously, we expect Kelce does a lot more with those, targets and with those catches. But, the savings is noticeable, of course. And I'd been talking earlier, I expected that I was going to play Mark Andrews. His price is criminally egregious on DraftKings. It just didn't work itself out to where, I could go that route. So I guess I save a little bit of face just because, another week where I'm not paying up at tight end. I still don't like the mid-price guys, but, it's been Ertz. He, picked the 1 week he had a dud. Freiermuth last week, he gets injured. I'm back to Ertz. Clearly, I don't learn my lesson. Jonnu is obviously a guy, that I talked about on Saturday morning that I like. I think that you understated, what he's done. You said last week he was good and talking about chasing points. It's been 3 weeks in a row. Week 2, week 3, week 4, 6 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets, 4, 5, 6 catches. Like I had talked, on Saturday, he's only one target behind Pitts, but he's got 4 more catches and 48 more yards. God, if he scores a touchdown, yeah, he's absolutely a smash at the position. Then the guy that I talked about up at the top, Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson out. He becomes our prototypical, stone minimum, tight end. When you play those guys, you have to be okay knowing that they could get a 0. In this case, Moreau could get a 0. But if you want to go that route, I get it. Probably the one thing he has in his favor, to be honest with you, is that Carr injury means Carr has not, well, last week at least, did not throw the ball down the field at all. That's how Alvin Kamara gets 13 catches. Foster Moreau obviously is going to, have a lower ADOT, average depth of target. So I think that, that increases the chances of a couple more targets going Moreau's way. Now, Is that going to happen? I don't know. What's he going to do with those if he does catch them? I don't know. But again, if you play a punt tight end, you have to be okay with the opportunity or the chance that he hits you with a 0. Then last guy I'll talk about, Sam Laporta. Again, all these injuries in Detroit. He's absolutely in play. Rookie tight ends typically, for lack of a better term, suck, and Sam Laporta has not been that. Sam Laporta has been absolutely fantastic. He's been getting great volume. I see no reason that changes today. He's not cheap, however, so you got to pay for him. And especially in cash, I can't see playing 3 Lions, 2 at the most, which is what I end up doing. But, if you wanted to go a little different and you wanted to take Montgomery out because he's going to be insane chalk, and you wanted to, play Laporta instead, that's a definite place you can go. And then, Chris, we got a little more than 10 minutes here until this all kicks off. So I'll go defense real quick. I'll make it fast. I think Tennessee is your cash defense. They're cheap. The matchup doesn't, crazy scare me. They're going up against the Colts. I don't expect the Colts are going to go bonkers. We could see a couple interceptions from Richardson. He's still a rookie quarterback. He's been playing well, but, as a rookie quarterback nonetheless. So, hell, Tennessee takes one of those back for a touchdown. They more than, pay for themselves. They also are pretty good at getting to the quarterback, even though they give up a lot of passing yards. It's because they stop the run so well. So I think that they're in play for MME purposes. I really like New England. I know we talked earlier about, the Saints are in with our, touchdown parlay. I think that, New England going up against a very limited Derek Carr, very possibly is going to hold that team down, gets a couple of sacks. Again, they score a touchdown, you're golden, but that's always the way it works with defense.
Absolutely. And I got one DST, and we're going to leave it at that because I have something I want to say. It's weird,
Okay.
And I'll get to it, but it's got to be Arizona, and I'll tell you why. When you look at Arizona, they're playing Cincinnati. This game is in Arizona, and right now Cincinnati they're a mess. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow's calf is still bugging him, and we saw all that nonsense, and it was all fake about how Jamar Chase wants out. He's requested a trade, and it wasn't serious. But the players do see this stuff, and they start and who knows? Jamar Chase saw that tweet and goes, "Haha, that's laughable. I love it here. I love it with Joe Burrow." But it does put a little bug in someone's brain. We're all human that way. And to me, Cincinnati right now, it's more so where they have, I feel, this is my personal opinion, that Cincinnati has just the amount of pressure that's on their shoulders right now is the size of the earth. I mean, that people they're not calling for their players' heads and stuff, and we need to change ownerships and Joe Burrow needs to go, but the big plays have been completely gone. And that's what Cincinnati used to make a living on, just bombing the ball to Chase, getting T. Higgins involved, Mixon doing his thing. And I know you like Mixon. I like him too. But again, as we said, who cares how many points are scored? I want sacks, interceptions, fumble recoveries, and mistakes, things along those lines. And I think Cincinnati, this is today, week 5, Cincinnati, this is do or die for them. They need to have this win, or else they're basically done in the division in terms of making the playoffs in a very competitive, AFC. So to me, Cincinnati has the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're in Arizona. They need to get things done, and they haven't looked good so far. So to me, Arizona makes for a beautiful play just based on, just one interception, one fumble recovery. What are the chances Joe Burrow just folds, right, in a sack, something along those lines? And when you look on FanDuel, Arizona, only $3,700. And on FanDuel, they're $3,700. Oh, FanDuel, they're $3,700. And on DraftKings, I don't have that information available. It would take me a minute to bring that screen up.
Give me just a second. I'll tell you.
All right.
Arizona, $2,800 on DraftKings. So they are just outside the top 5 as far as like low priced. So
yeah. It's beautiful, and what I wanted to say, I'll leave it be. At 4:25, you can get in it's like 2 or 3 games. It's the Kansas City Minnesota game, and the Denver game. And Kelsey is $8,789, and I think that has something to do with Swift. So I filled up my whole lineup. I have one wide receiver spot left to fill, and my remaining salary is $5,611. In all my years playing DFS, I've never seen anything like, because it's always, it's always even numbers. It's always 7,500 or 8,000 even. But now I have $5,611 left, and I'm going to use it to put in Marvin Mims, and we'll save that one. So to bring this thing to an end, anything you'd like to say before we split and we get to edit our lineups and enjoy this Sunday, Dave?
I mean, all I'll say basically is, I don't know how, whoever's listening, watching back, watching live, I don't know how you're doing each week to this point, but if you're not an all access member, then, that's what I say. I don't know how you're doing, because if you're an all access member, I can tell you right now, through the first 4 weeks, we've had 3 complete cash sweeps. Last week, it wasn't a complete cash sweep, but everyone was still profitable who, followed the advice of the pool that I put in there, that I update numerous times during the week until it's locked before we go live here. So if you find yourself not in that same position, highly suggest that you give us a chance. Come on over if you like what we got going on here. If you like what we got going on with that Saturday morning video, I promise you that's the tip of the iceberg. All the rest of it is in that private Discord that you can get access to.
No doubt. And before we split, I want to say thank you to you, Dave, for being here with me. I want to say thank you to everybody watching. Thanks to everybody who's commenting. Thank you to all of you who continue to read our content, who watch our videos, who support our work, who support everything we do here at fantasy6pack.net. We have a jam-packed day ahead of us. We're about 7 minutes away from kickoff. It's going to be fantastic. And I hate to do one of those, selfless plugs, but Sunday Night Football tonight is going to be an absolute awesome game. You get the Dallas Cowboys playing the San Francisco 49ers in where do they play? Levi Stadium. So that single game DFS video is going to be out here soon, done by me. I have a lot of ways to spin this one. The final score is going to blow your mind. It's going to be all overs in this game. So hang in there. Single game DFS Sunday Night Football game will be out in a few hours, but until then, be good, be safe. May all your lines cash, and we will see you again soon. Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.